Chapter 465. Impure images flash through Ye's mind. For example, that night when he stripped naked and rode her, his brother saluted her with pride and arrogance. After the pain, she felt a lump in her throat. Why did those inexplicable images suddenly appear in her mind now? Why did she feel like she was looking at Jiang Zhao when he was completely naked? Who was the pervert? At this moment, Jiang Zhao's mobile phone rang. Yi regained her senses, and she felt relieved. Jiang Zhao heaved a sigh of relief at the same time. This call came at the right time. He does not want to continue playing with this girl. Jiang Zhao looked at Yi cautiously. Yi felt a lot more nervous after being stared at. She sat up and watched as Jiang Zhao stood up with a cold expression. He walked to the window and picked up the call. He drew the curtains. The sun was already shining brightly outside, and it rushed directly into the bedroom. Subconsciously, she covered her eyes and rubbed them for a while. Then she moved her hands away and looked at the back of the person by the window. The sunlight was like a huge lotus, releasing thin strands of water that sprinkled all over his body. In an instant, they blended together and made his silhouette overflow with light. He was tall and straight, with a sense of valiance. Actually, he was not that bad. If he was really that bad, she would hate him like how she hated her youngest aunt, Zhou Yan. She was just a little afraid of him, and was not willing to accept it. He answered the call and did not say much. Yes, no. You don't have to worry about this. I know what I'm doing. Yes, I promise. He only said a few words, and it was the same as when she first met him. He was cold and did not know how to joke. Jiang Zhao turned and walked towards Yi. Yi sat on the bed and moved back a little. After that, she jumped off the bed and stood far away from the bed. She did not want to have a conflict with him. Mayor Jiang, sorry for bothering you for 2 days. I will go back first. The most important thing was to leave this wolf's den. If this continues, Yi will not be able to take it. She might not be able to settle her family's matters properly, and she might be sent to a mental hospital by Jiang Zhao. That would not be good. Jiang Zhao bent over and placed his mobile phone on the bedside table. He took off his t-shirt, revealing his toned and perfect body. Yi, who only knows how to fantasize about naked men, almost had a nosebleed. His muscles were firm but not fat, tight but not exaggerated. His abdomen area was like a grid, and it went all the way down. You only know how to cherish something after you lose it. Jiang Zhao teased Yi, and Yi took a while to understand what he meant. Why don't we continue? At your age, it's normal for you to have feelings of love. Mayor Jiang is so humorous. Yi laughed. Feelings of love. Yi's face had unknowingly turned completely red. However, the age gap between them seemed to be a little too big. Jiang Zhao only glanced at her indifferently, as if there was no interaction between them just now. He said casually, "Later, take down the bedsheets and blankets and wash them. Don't touch my things." After saying that, he walked to the wardrobe and opened it. Yi saw the clothes in the wardrobe were arranged according to the color cards. From dark to light. Feng Yu's long fingers slid across the clothes pole and landed on a light blue shirt. After that, Yi watched Jiang Zhao pick a pair of trousers and a tie. He opened the drawer, and all the ties were arranged according to the color cards. Pure color, striped, wavy dark lines. He should have taken in a lot of things. Everything was arranged so neatly. His bedroom was big, and it was well equipped. She thought he had a special dressing room in his house. There was a soft carpet at the end of the bed. Although it was dark-colored coffee, it felt very clean and comfortable. Although she did not like such dark colors in the past, she still felt comfortable. Looking at the way he picked things was a kind of enjoyment. Don't be fooled by how cool he was when he wasn't smiling. When he lowered his eyes, it was frightening. However, when his slender fingers shuttled through various fabrics, it was indescribably elegant. Come over and help me tie my bow. Did he treat her as a maid? Didn't you say you don't retaliate when I hit you? Don't retaliate when I scold you, and only follow my lead? You're not willing to tie a tie? Yi accepted it. She walked over and helped Jiang Zhao tie the tie. Standing in front of him without high heels, she felt that she should be 5 centimeters taller. Is there a washing machine at home? Yi Er asked as she stared at the tie. She should wash the blanket. She slept in his bed. Don't tell me you want to wash it by hand? Yi Er complained. Did this person have to look like he would not stop until he choked her to death? She pulled the knot of the tie in her hand into the right position. Yi Er reached a finger into Jiang Zhao's collar. It shouldn't be too tight. Oh, then I'm done. Do I pull the door open, or do I need to lock it with a key? Jiang Zhao walked to the full-length mirror and looked at it with satisfaction. He did not turn his head and only asked calmly, "Are you leaving?" Of course. Was she going to stay here and wait for him to come back and tease her? Now that she thought about it, he must have teased her on purpose. Otherwise, he could have hung up and continued. But he did not. Jiang Zhao walked to the bedside table and picked up the phone. Holding it in his hand, he said in a forceful tone with a hint of warning, "You can't leave. Not only can you not leave, but you can't reject the beauty at work for the next few days. You can't go downstairs either. There's a lot of food in the fridge. Make yourself some food." Yi Er could not help but feel nervous. Why? Jiang Zhao's tone was calm as if he was talking about something trivial. It's not a good time for you to meet Zhuang Yichen. It's also not a good time for people to know that you left my apartment. It's best if you don't cause trouble for me. Her heart trembled. He wants to get rid of me? Jiang Zhao had already reached the bedroom door. When he grabbed the cold handle of the door, he suddenly turned around. He exuded a cold aura that had not been seen in a long time. His eyes were as deep as the sea and there was a hint of coldness in them. He stared intently at Yi Er's eyes and asked coldly, "What did you hear at the door that day?" Yi Er's heart trembled when she recalled Zhuang Yichen's murderous gaze that night. She hurriedly waved her hands and explained, "I really didn't hear anything. I swear. I went in to avoid Min Zikai. Also, your door was closed. The beauty's soundproofing was so good. I couldn't have heard anything." Jiang Zhao relaxed his gaze and said, "It's useless for you to say that now. You don't believe me?" He had said that her words could not be trusted. Jiang Zhao did not answer her directly. "Whether I believe you or not is one matter. Whether Zhuang Yichen wants your life or not is another matter." Yi Er's face turned even paler. "What serious matter would he want my life for? You're the magistrate. How could you allow him to do this under your nose?" Jiang Zhao smiled and asked in return, "What if he didn't do it under my nose?" Yi Er did not dare to ask in detail. Her father had taught her since she was young that sometimes, the less she knew, the better. Sometimes, she had to pretend not to know even if she knew. Now that it was a matter of life and death, she was already feeling uneasy and did not dare to say more. For some reason, Yi Er was very touched by Jiang Zhao's treatment of her. She lowered her head slightly and asked softly, "Jiang Zhao, you said that you're not related to me in any way. Why are you helping me like this? I've threatened you before and almost harmed you." He let her stay here. Wasn't he afraid that she would harm him? Did this mean something else? However, Jiang Zhao said, "There are some simple things that you don't have to think about so much." Yi Er looked at him but could not see anything. Why did a man's eyes have to be so deep? They were like the bottomless sea, and also like a forest where one could not see the path ahead. If she continued to look at them, she would be lost. It was really a beautiful forest. After Jiang Zhao left, Yi Er started to remove the blanket that she had slept in. In the past year or so after the Yin family collapsed, she had naturally done all the housework. However, the house was too clean. The master bedroom, guest room, living room, dining room, kitchen. There was no place for her to do anything. After washing the blanket and drying it, she could not find anything else to do. Yi Er lay on the sofa and looked at the clock on the wall. In the quiet living room, only the ticking sound of the clock's hands could be heard. Her mind was filled with images of Jiang Zhao teasing her and those seductive abs. One look and she could tell that he was so powerful. She was shocked to find that she was thinking about spring. She had a feeling that Jiang Zhao was helping her because he liked her, even though he was much older than her. Oh my God! This was terrible. In the past, she had never thought that she would interact with a man who was so much older than her. Luckily, he was handsome, tall, and had a great figure. Actually, he was not sharp-tongued. He was just humorous. Yi Er shook her head forcefully and covered her burning face. No, she could not think about it anymore. If she continued to think about it, she would die of embarrassment. Yi curled up on the sofa and bit her fingers. She frowned and hated herself. Yin Yi, can't you be more mature? Have you never seen a man before? You are so useless. Yi thought that Jiang Zhao would come home for dinner, but he did not. She waited until she thought that she was so hungry that she was about to meet the king of hell. Then she made some noodles and ate them. Jiang Zhao did not allow her to leave. She should still sleep in the same place, right? Hence, she rearranged the bedsheets that were full of the smell of the sun and covered them with it. Lying on the bed, Yi thought about it. She used to think that Jiang Zhao could not be her backer because she would not be able to get any help from him. But why couldn't she? Having a backer like him was the best. He was handsome, rich and powerful. Who would dare to not give face to the Jiang and Qin families? If he wanted to protect her, no one would dare to do anything to her. Just like now, if Zhuang Yichen wanted to get rid of her, he could leave her in his house. She was not sure about Zhuang Yichen's strength, but if he dared to kill someone in front of Jiang Zhao, he must be very capable. But wasn't the second young master of the Zhuang family not favored? Could it be that the rumors were wrong? Jiang Zhao and Zhuang Yichen seemed to have a special relationship. Were they plotting something that night? Were they afraid that she would overhear something that made Zhuang Yichen want to kill her? Could it be that there was a secret between him and Jiang Zhao? Awesome novel Hongcha 866. Chapter 466. Could it be that Zhuang Yichen can kill someone so easily? He dares to let the deputy mayor know about this? No. Jiang Zhao had said that Zhuang Yichen does not have to do this under his watch. That means Jiang Zhao did not participate in this and did not see it. That means he can ignore it. Is this what he means? When Yi thought of this, she did not dare to think further. She felt a chill down her spine. Seems like it will be hard for her to stay alive if she goes out like this. She still needs to bring her younger brother to visit her father on Saturday. What should she do? Should she stay here for the rest of her life? No. She must go back as soon as possible. Barefooted, Yi walked to the window and gazed at the night sky that was as blue as ink. The stars twinkled one after another. She suddenly felt that she was just a star in the vast universe, the kind that couldn't reflect the sunlight. It was too lonely. When she thought about the danger she is in, she felt terrified. She looked at the time on her phone. It's already 1 a.m. She called Jiang Zhao, but no one answered. She called again. Just when Yi thought something had happened to Jiang Zhao, the phone was picked up. It was a man's lazy voice, as if he was sleep-talking. Hello. Are you sleeping? There was a small flame that was ready to ignite. She was still worried about him. Nonsense. Aren't you sleeping at home? The man on the other end of the line replied impatiently. Of course, I am sleeping at home. Beep, 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 damn. Yi threw her phone on the bed. She was touched for nothing. This guy is a crafty rabbit with 3 burrows. No wonder the house is so clean. He is not here to stay. Yi suddenly realized that she is very irritable and irritated. She shook her head, kicked the bed, and hit the pillow. She still can't vent her anger. Ah. She screamed twice. Who is your backer? Damn your head. He is not interested in her at all. The more Yi thought about it, the angrier she got. She was so angry that she huffed and puffed. She picked up the phone and dialed the number again. After a while, the call was picked up. Before there was a sound, she screamed angrily. I don't want you to care. Whether he's dead or alive is none of your business. I'm leaving. Yi hung up the phone and turned it off. She didn't know what was wrong with her, but she was furious. Although she said that she was leaving, she put on her clothes and combed her hair slowly. After tidying up for an hour, she finally finished putting on her clothes. What did he think he was? A bunch of old bones. She didn't even like him. Humph. Yi slammed the door and even kicked the iron door angrily. Ayo. She called out. How silly. Did she forget to wear her sandals? Idiot. After leaving the neighborhood, Yi realized how willful she was. It was not just expensive to go back in the wilderness. There weren't even any taxis. But he couldn't go back to Jiang Zhao's house. The door was locked. Should he go back and squat at the door? How embarrassing. It was late at night in the middle of summer in the suburbs. It wasn't stuffy at all. Instead, it was pleasantly cool. The chirping of insects was endless. But the more it was like this, the quieter it was. Yi-er couldn't help but look around. The thumping sound in her heart had already drowned out the chirping of the insects. This place was in the northern suburbs. She lived in the west. How long would she have to walk? Moreover, there was a stretch of road without any buildings. It was too scary. There were a few cars parked by the roadside. It was a black mid-range car. There were 2 men in the driver's seat and the passenger's seat. One had a full beard, and the other had a short scar on his nose. They didn't seem to be resting. Their gazes were like nighthawks searching for their prey. It made one nervous. The car window was open 3 fingers wide. Yi-er had just walked over when the man with the short scar lifted his chin at the man with the beard. Boss said that we can't dirty this place. The man with the beard stared at the rearview mirror with murderous eyes and nodded. The more Yi-er walked, the more flustered she became. She couldn't take it anymore. She really didn't dare to walk at night. It was too scary, especially after the incident of her bag being robbed. Behind her, she heard the sound of a car engine revving. Thinking it was a taxi, she was overjoyed. She walked to the road and was about to turn around to hail a taxi. But when she saw that it wasn't a taxi, she put down her hand. But the car suddenly sped up and charged straight at her. No, the car's license plate was blocked. Yi-er's heart was beating wildly. She was so nervous that her fists were trembling. She took a deep breath, turned around and ran. Jiang Zhao was right. It was so late at night and so empty. The car could make a turn in one go. She wanted to find a place with a ladder to run, but she couldn't find one. She was even more scared than when she met the robber last time. She knew that the person she had inexplicably provoked this time wasn't ordinary. As she ran, she turned on her phone. Before the music on her phone could finish playing, the rumbling sound of the accelerator came from afar. A bunch of bright headlights shone on her, and she instinctively raised her hand to block them. The car was also driving very fast. When it stopped beside her, Yi-er almost thought that she had been hit from both the front and the back. Yi-er was so scared that she didn't dare to move. She heard the sharp sound of brakes not far behind her. She turned around and saw that the car that was rushing towards her had come to an emergency stop. Jiang Zhao slammed the car door and got out. When he looked at Yi-er, Yi-er felt that it wasn't Zhuang Yichen who wanted to kill her, but Jiang Zhao who wanted to kill her. She had seen Jiang Zhao's car before. It was an Audi issued by the company. This time he was also driving an Audi, but it wasn't an ordinary Audi. It was an A8. Her wrist was almost crushed. After the car door was pulled open, Yi-er was violently thrown into the car. Jiang Zhao got into the car and slammed the car door. He didn't start the car. Instead, he turned sideways and reached out to grab Yi-er's neck, who was still gasping for air. The evil spirit's fierceness surfaced in his eyes again. He said fiercely, "Yin-yi, I'm warning you. If you want to die, then go and die far away. Get out of Haiqing and die. Don't King cause me trouble." This was the first time Yi-er had heard Jiang Zhao scold someone, and he used such a fierce attitude. He actually told her to go and die. Go and die far away. She suddenly felt very wronged. She had already forgotten that her breathing was abnormal. She grabbed Jiang Zhao's hand, and with reddened eyes, she used a very loud voice to hide her sadness. "So what if I die? Wait for me to buy insurance for my brother, then I'll go and die somewhere else. I won't cause you any trouble. You people can control people however you want. I'm also living a life worse than death after being tortured by you people." Jiang Zhao gritted his teeth and cursed under his breath. His large hand flung Yi-er's neck away, and he looked at the mid-range car in the rearview mirror. He took out his cell phone and dialed a number. He glared at Yi-er, and Yi-er didn't dare to make another sound. Jiang Zhao's face seemed to be wearing a thick metal mask. There was no warmth, only coldness. He held the phone and said in a deep voice, "I said I'd guarantee it, but you actually asked someone to come here. It looks like my reputation is really worthless. This won't do. I have to hear your promise." Jiang Zhao hung up the phone and didn't say anything. He kept staring at the rearview mirror until he saw the car turn around and leave. Only then did he start the car. The car stopped in front of the old residential area. The man didn't look at the person beside him and said coldly, "You can go to work tomorrow as usual," without instructions to clean and serve the private room. Employees are forbidden from entering, right? Yi-er nodded hesitantly. "Get out of the car." Before she could say thank you, Yi-er was already chased out by Jiang Zhao. It looked like he hated her very much. Yi-er tossed and turned all night and didn't sleep well. Early the next morning, she received a court summons. Looking at the contents of the summons, it turned out that Zhou Yin was also afraid of changes. Otherwise, why would she act so quickly? Yi-er put on her clothes and went straight to elfin photography. She had to talk to someone. Elfin photography on the 2 floors was not small. A set of photos ranged from a few hundred to a few thousand yuan. The profit margin was also very high. She asked her assistant and photographer along the way, and finally found Zheng Ling in her office. Zheng Ling still liked to dress loosely. She was tall and looked like a girl who grew up in Jiangnan. She was very beautiful, and always had a kind of enthusiasm. Countless models who were photographed by her were willing to smile at her camera. "What's wrong?" Zheng Ling asked carefully when she saw Yi-er's serious expression. Yi-er sat on Zheng Ling's desk with her shoulders slumped. Frowning, she explained clearly about the court summons. Zheng Ling also lifted her butt and sat next to Yi-er. She slammed the table and said, "Is there no law?" Yi-er said, "Those with power and influence are the law. Min Zikai originally said that he would help me set up a company. This way, I would have a stable income and it would be easy to get custody. But his mother came looking for me. I don't dare to use the money from selling the house to start a business. What if I lose money?" Zheng Ling thought for a moment and said with a relaxed expression, "Yi-er, I'll give you shares. You will have a business. This way, you can win the lawsuit." Yi-er was suddenly delighted. "Really? Then after this lawsuit is over, I'll transfer the shares back to you." Zheng Ling shook her head and waved her hand. "No, no, no." She reached out and held Yi-er's shoulder. She said sincerely, "Yi-er, you lent me the money to open this studio. In the beginning, I said that I would let you invest in it, but you refused. I've always wanted to help you, but every time, I've been more of a hindrance. If I can help with Zijia's matter, I'll feel better." Yi-er refused to accept it no matter what. Zheng Ling jumped down from the table and flared up. "Yin-yi, our family is already doing very well. Why are you so stubborn?" At this moment, the half-closed door was pushed open. It was Mother Zheng. When she saw Yi-er, the smile on her face grew to the corners of her eyes. "Yi-er, it's great that you're here. Auntie made stewed meat with bamboo shoots for lunch. Let's eat together." Mother Zheng turned her back to Yi-er and glared fiercely at Zheng Ling. Zheng Ling immediately felt extremely awkward. Zheng Ling wanted to pretend that she didn't see it, but Mother Zheng pulled her into the room. She could only smile apologetically at Yi-er. Mother Zheng smiled eagerly at Yi-er. "Yi-er, wait for Auntie. Say a few words to Ling Ling." Yi-er smiled and nodded. Then she heard Zheng Ling trying her best to lower her voice. "Mom, what are you doing? What am I doing? If I didn't come, would you have given this studio to someone else?" Huh. Zheng Ling was frustrated. "How is that giving it away? I'm just giving Yi-er some shares. This way, she will have an income and Zijia's problem will be solved." Welfare Xinwu 799. Chapter 467. Mother Zheng spat. "Give her some shares? Huh. You make it sound so easy. Don't think that I don't understand just because I'm uneducated. Do you think shares are something that can be given out so casually? If I give it to you, you'll have to give her dividends every year. I'm your biological mother. Why don't you treat me better?" "Huh." Zheng Ling said confidently. "Yi-er needs money now. Sharing the money can help her. There's nothing wrong with that. Do you think you can help the Yun family just because you want to? Have you forgotten how the Bureau of Industry, Commerce, Taxation, Fire, and Labor came looking for you half a year ago? I told you that it must be Yunye's bad luck, but you still fought for it. When the time comes, you won't even have porridge to drink. Let's see what you can use to show off." "Mom, have you forgotten how I started? I haven't even finished my first year of high school, and you can't afford it. Even when I found an 800 yuan job, people complained that I didn't have a diploma. If Yi Er hadn't lent me money back then, we would still be living on welfare. How would we have the money to buy a house and a car? Mom, you can't forget your roots. You can't be ungrateful. Zheng Ling's heartfelt words didn't move Mother Zheng. Instead, her words became sharp. She deliberately looked outside and said in a strong voice, "Forget your roots? What roots? Didn't you already return the money to her? It's not like you cheated her of her money. What's more, was money enough to start a photography studio? Your mother woke up early and worked late every day to save money for you. Who cleaned the place in the beginning? Who cooked for your employees? Was it all thanks to her alone? She lent you money because she pitied you. What was 1,000,000 yuan to her in the past? She was just giving alms to beggars. She used to give alms to you. Now that you're capable, you want to give alms to her? She might not even appreciate your kindness." Clang! There was the sound of something falling outside. "Mom, stop it." Zheng Ling's expression changed drastically. She quickly walked out of the room and realized that there was no one outside. She turned to her mother and shouted rudely, "You've gone too far. Why is it that her kind help is so unbearable in your mouth? You think you're doing well now, but it's all because of your own ability. Let me tell you, even if you're poor and rich, you won't last forever. Yi Er can't be like this for the rest of his life. There will be a day when you need help, just like in the past. You traitor." Mother Zheng was so angry that her face turned pale. She raised her hand and was about to slap Zheng Ling. Yi Er ran out of sprite photography, with shaky steps. She felt an indescribable pain in her heart. It was as if she was surrounded by people on a scorching summer day. She couldn't even take a breath. The air that entered her body was filled with the stench of sweat from those people. She wanted to cover her 7 orifices and isolate herself from the world. Was she the legendary Gue Jianqiu? Every time Mother Zheng saw her, she would smile like a blooming flower. She originally thought that there was still someone who treated her differently. However, Mother Zheng said that she was trying to send a beggar away. Even now, she had become a beggar. What was wrong with human nature? Why couldn't she understand it, even though she was so realistic? Selfishness was the root, and protecting one's own interests was an instinct. Sad but not crying. Above her head were dense sycamore leaves. The boy's voice was like a mountain spring in summer, dripping into her ears. Her nose was filled with the faint smell of licorice mixed with oil paint. She actually walked here, the art street that was shaded by sycamore trees. People who sold calligraphy and paintings were the most popular. Yi Er turned to look at the boy and smiled. "I haven't met anything that can make me so sad that I have to cry." The sunlight that leaked through the gaps of the leaves shone on the boy's head. He stood in front of the drawing board. He was tall and slender, with fair skin and elegant facial features. He was wearing a cotton short-sleeved white shirt and light-colored thin jeans. He was so beautiful that he looked refined. His body was stained with fine paint, but you would think that he was exceptionally clean. What kind of family could raise a boy with such a pair of eyes? They were clear and pure, as if they were not tainted by the mortal world, and did not understand filth. It made people jealous. The boy bent over to wash his hands in the bucket. He had a nobility that did not match a poor artist. He spoke slowly. "I haven't seen you here in a long time." Yi Er stood on her tiptoes and looked at the work on the boy's drawing board. "Yes, I've been busy recently. Have you sold your paintings?" The boy turned to pack up the drawing board. "I can't meet such a generous customer like you who doesn't know how to appreciate things." Yi Er chuckled. "Artists really don't know how to do business. Do you feel bad praising your customer for having good taste?" The boy hung the drawing board on his bicycle. "But you really don't know how to appreciate things. You can't understand my paintings at all." Yi Er deliberately snorted. "But it's fine as long as I have the money to buy them. If I don't understand, I can pretend to understand. I can make others think that I understand. That's fine. It's really a headache for an artist like me to meet a customer who stinks of money like you." Yi Er saw that the boy was packing up the stall. She helped him pour the water out of the bucket and put it into a tool bag. She hung it on the bicycle. "Don't worry about it. I don't have the spare money to give you a headache recently. It's fine that you didn't sell your paintings. I wanted to extort a cup of tea from you. Looks like it's over. The boy pedaled the bicycle and held the front of the bicycle. Let's go. I met a nouveau riche who doesn't know how to appreciate things like you yesterday. It's enough to drink tea for a month. Yi-er wrinkled her nose. Then you still have to pay the rent. When you have the money, I'll sell you another one. Then I'll have the money to pay. Yi-er liked to look into the boy's eyes. They were clear and cold. It was so nice. They were talking about such unscrupulous things, but he could talk about it with the grace of an immortal. Yi-er sat behind the boy's bicycle. The wind blew her long hair up, just like her current mood. She smiled and asked him, "Hey, have you ever been in a predicament where you have no way out?" The sun shone on the boy's body. His eyes were overflowing with a gentle halo, but his words were firm and confident. No, because there's always a way out. Even if there's no way out, you can still find a way out. No matter if it's you or someone else, where there's a foot, there's a way out. Yi-er's heart couldn't help but tremble. She quietly closed her eyes. The boy's words were soft but strong. Yi-er returned home from the art street after drinking the worry-relieving tea. She was in a much better mood. She put on powder, put on makeup, chose a small spaghetti strap, and matched it with a half-length dress. This way, she wouldn't look so wild. She let her long hair down and pinched a strand from her ears and temples. She pulled her hair back and tied it into a small bun. Her reflection in the mirror made her look ladylike. She didn't know if this dressing was appropriate. There was always a way out. How could there be no way out? What did it matter if it was her own foot or someone else's foot? As long as that path led to the top of the mountain. What did it matter if it was her own foot or someone else's? Yi-er had just changed her clothes when someone knocked on the door. The person who called was Zheng Ling. Zheng Ling's eyes were red and swollen, and there were finger marks on his face. Yi-er took a deep breath and pulled Zheng Ling to sit on the simple sofa. She reached out to touch his face and frowned. "What's wrong?" Zheng Ling was a little embarrassed and smiled stiffly. "I ran too fast on the way to find you and got hit by a tree branch. Seriously, I don't have eyes when I walk." Yi-er's nose twitched. "Did Mother Zheng hit you?" Zheng Ling knew he couldn't hide it and was very angry. "I can't be bothered with her. She's a crazy woman. Anyway, she hit me a lot and always said I was a waste of money. Fortunately, I've been able to earn money these few years, so she treated me better." As she spoke, she took out an agreement from her bag and handed it to Yi-er. "This is the share transfer agreement. I downloaded the simplest one online. We're not a big company, so there's no need to be so complicated. Just sign it and we'll go to the Industry and Commerce Bureau to change it tomorrow." Yi-er pushed the agreement into Zheng Ling's hands. "Ling, there's no need." Zheng Ling was afraid that Yi-er would take things too hard, so he hurriedly signed the agreement and handed it over. "Yi-er, will you be angry with me because of what my mother said? I really don't have such thoughts." Yi-er pinched Zheng Ling's face affectionately. "How can I be angry with you? I'll cherish the friends who are still by my side for the rest of my life. Your mother is your mother and you are you. It's just that I already have a good idea." Zheng Ling was skeptical. "What idea?" Ling, I want to find a backer. Xiao Jie is likable and Zhou Yin is determined to get custody of him. Your shares can only help me for a while. She will have other ways to mess with people. But if I have a backer that even Zhou Yin is afraid of, then Xiao Jie and I will be able to live peacefully." Zheng Ling's eyes widened. "You're saying you want to find a sugar daddy?" Yi-er smiled nonchalantly. "Sugar daddy? To me, sugar daddy is useless." "Then what is it?" Yi-er thought about it and hesitated. "It might not work now, but regardless of whether it works or not, I have to give it a try. I'm not telling you now for your own good. Don't ask me too much." After the incident with the photo, she didn't dare to drag Zheng Ling into this. Who knew what the outcome would be? Usually there wouldn't be any guests at Peerless Beauty's party at 5:30 p.m. However, in Zhao Juan's private room, the dice were colliding violently in the dice cup. Zhuang Yichen looked up and the dice cup clanged on the table. He picked up a few dice and threw them at the two men standing opposite him. These two men were the ones who had hit Yi-er with their car, Scarface and beard. Good for nothing. With a roar, he pursed his thin lips and snorted. I told you not to dirty that place. How dare you act on your own initiative and hit someone with your car? Who gave you the guts? Zhuang Yichen's short hair seemed to have stood up. He stood up and his black shirt made him look even more intimidating. The man whose forehead was bleeding from the hit didn't dare to make a sound. The two of them originally looked fierce, but at this moment they looked humble and timid. Zhuang Yichen was annoyed that he tried to contact Jiang Zhao, but the other party didn't pick up his call. They had a tacit understanding, so he told his men not to do anything in Jiang Zhao's area. In the end, these two men couldn't keep their cool. He didn't expect that Yi Er would provoke Jiang Zhao. Scarface saw the tense atmosphere and mustered up his courage. Boss, where is the person we offended? Let's go and apologize. Zhuang Yichen glared at Scarface. Apologize? Are you worthy? If you dare to act on your own again, I'll cripple you. Get out. The two of them quickly ran out of the private room. Zhuang Yichen didn't expect that he and Jiang Zhao would be at odds over Yi Er. This girl was quite capable. Come and see. Hongcha 866. Chapter 468. As time passed, the night went from bright to dark. It was past midnight. When Jiang Zhao returned home, there was something curled up in front of his door. It was a small thing. Her hair was disheveled, and she was hugging her knees as she slept against the door frame. Next to her was a thermos. He squatted down and tilted his head to take a look, but her face was buried and he couldn't see. She had attended a dinner party, so her mind wasn't very clear. He suddenly felt playful. The ghost is here. He purposely made it sound like he was scared and shouted into Yi Er's ear. In his impression, little girls were all afraid of ghosts. However, the girl didn't panic. Instead, a slap flew over and an impatient roar like she was sleep-talking. Get lost. Why are you screaming like a ghost? Can't you let me sleep? After roaring, she continued to dream. Yin Yi. Luckily he blocked it with one hand. Otherwise he would have been disfigured by that slap. Yi Er felt that something was wrong when she heard the voice. She immediately looked up. Her sleepiness was gone. She swore that it wasn't intentional. At this moment, she could only pretend to be innocent. When she stood up, she patted her long skirt. Standing there, she was reserved and dignified like a lady from a respectable family. Her pink lips, white and slender neck, elegant chin, and the little spaghetti-strap neckline bloomed with seductive charm. The tight elastic fabric wrapped around the exquisite and delicate curves of a young woman. Jiang Zhao wasn't too happy about being almost hit. What are you doing here? Didn't you go to work last night? I'll go back to work next week. Anyway, I'm just a temporary worker. I made some soup today to thank my benefactor. Yi Er saw Jiang Zhao's hesitant expression and added, Don't worry, I didn't poison it. Jiang Zhao didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Did all girls like to watch transmigrations nowadays? Wouldn't it be awkward for her to call him benefactor all day long? He felt so awkward when he heard it. After he opened the door, Yi Er followed him in. He changed his shoes behind Jiang Zhao and placed the thermos on the dining table. Jiang Zhao sat down on the sofa and turned on the air conditioner with a beep. He took off his tie and rolled up his sleeves. Yi Er went to pour a glass of water for Jiang Zhao with ease. When she handed it to him, she bent over, and her long hair cascaded down her back. The relaxing elan with the faint fragrance of jasmine rushed into Jiang Zhao's nose unscrupulously. Her silky hair brushed against the back of his hand, tickling his heart. The neckline of the suspender belt was not too low. Even if she bent down, it was impossible for the man sitting in front of her to covet the real content. Jiang Zhao's Adam's apple rolled uncontrollably as he took the cup. Yi Er knelt down beside Jiang Zhao's feet. The man leaned casually on the sofa, and even the corners of his mouth were curled up casually. She couldn't guess what he was thinking. Fortunately, she didn't think of guessing his thoughts. She took out her wallet from her shoulder bag and took out a gold bank card. She held his hand. He paused, but she didn't let go. She put her hand that was holding the gold card in his large hand, and then held his hand tightly with her other hand. Their hands overlapped, and it was impossible to tell who was wrapped around who. She was humble and begged in a low voice, "Help me with my brother's matter. I beg you." Jiang Zhao's hand was held by Yi Er just like that. He never knew that she had such a submissive side. He lifted her chin with his empty hand and made her look at him. He looked at her condescendingly. The way she was dressed today really made her look as gentle as water. He stroked her chin with his thumb and said with a faint smile, "Are you trying to bribe me?" "No. No." Yi Er stammered. She raised her head and looked at the man's handsome face. Her watery eyes were still full of grievance. She said in a low voice, "Zhou Yan wants to fight with me for Xiaojie's custody. The money in this card is from me selling the house. I've pawned everything. Without a father, I can't live without a brother." The man didn't answer whether he would help or not. Instead, he asked in a low voice, "No?" He pulled the kneeling woman up with his strong arm and let her sit on his lap. His hand reached into her sling. This woman's pretense of being weak was really pitiful. In Jiang Zhao's eyes, Yi Er's meekness was all an act. He had known her for so long and was already used to it. How many people in this society didn't act? He dealt with many people every day, and he also acted a lot. If she wanted to act with him, he would act with her. God knew how much he liked to see her embarrassed every time she couldn't continue acting. It was really a big spice in life, and it was full of color, fragrance, and taste. He only wanted to tease her, but he found that the softness under his hand made him want to destroy her. Move. It was really a change. Perverted thoughts. What kind of scene would it be if he crushed such a beautiful thing in his hand? "Yinyi, you can't blame me this time. You sent yourself to me. Fake and real, it's all an act. I'll act with you. You have to be able to act. You came dressed like this because you want sex. Bribe?" His voice was getting slower and slower. Even if he was teasing her, it was starting to become hoarse. "How are you going to settle yesterday's debt?" Yi Er blinked her misty eyes. It seemed like there were some watery tears locked in her eyes. She looked pitifully at the man who had a green light in his eyes. She said timidly, "In the future, I won't dare to do it again." The woman lowered her head and buried it in the man's arms. However, the corners of her mouth slowly curled up. It seemed to be too fast, but it was Yi Er's premeditated kiss. The heat was happening step by step as she expected. Ylang and jasmine essential oil were urging. It was the effect of love. However, Jiang Zhao's self-control was amazing. He drank some wine today. Was she lucky? When the two of them fell back onto the soft cloud silk quilt on the bed that she had slept on before, they felt a different state of mind. Lust rolled and calculation surged. Yi Er knew that she could no longer turn back. She didn't need to turn back. That memorial arch was long gone. One was willing to give, the other was willing to accept. One was making use of, the other was well aware, but still moved forward bravely. Neither of them cared about each other's thoughts. No one was more despicable, no one was more despicable. Between them, it was just a transaction that was neither losing nor owing. Even if they didn't say it out loud, they could still act according to the script. This was a kind of tacit understanding. Jiang Zhao was annoyed by Yi Er's naivety. "Yinyi, is this the quality of a person who costs 300,000 yuan a night? You don't even know how to take the initiative?" Yi Er was not annoyed. She hooked her arms around Feng Yu's neck and said coquettishly, "Mayor, you have sharp foresight. You said that I am priceless. It's because I have not found a buyer. That's why it's hard to do business." Jiang Zhao heard what she said and smiled. His impatience and irritation subsided a little. When their bare skin touched each other, it was the sharp collision of different textures. It was like gunpowder scraping against flint. In the next second, there would be a puff sound, and sparks would fly in all directions. Jiang Zhao's patience and gentleness had surprised Yi Er. The last time she bit her lips, he did not pity her at all. She could only feel his anger, cruelty, and ruthlessness. So this time his gentle kisses and caresses made her feel flattered. She never knew that this man could be so gentle and serious. Jiang Zhao woke up very early and did not open the curtains. Yi Er pulled the blanket over her chest and sat up. She looked at Jiang Zhao, who was wearing his tie in front of the mirror. She said softly, "Mayor Jiang, my brother's matter." At first, Jiang Zhao was still in a daze, but when he heard Yi Er's words, He glanced sideways at her and frowned slightly. He snorted unhappily and left without saying anything else. Year pursed her lips. This man was really... He wasn't like this yesterday. What did she do to provoke him? He seemed to like her to be a little more humble. Since yesterday she had always been meek and submissive. Which of her words wasn't gentle? Which gaze was not delicate? Who was the one who hugged her so hard last night, and didn't know how to be satisfied? She still thought that he had a gentle side to him? So he had thrown away his gentle side the moment he got out of bed. Stinky man. Why was he so arrogant? City Government Office Building. Jiang Zhao returned to his office and took off his suit jacket. He passed it to his secretary, Lu Cheng, and walked towards his desk. Although the color of the office was dark, the lines were clean and simple. It made the office look young and energetic. This was Jiang Zhao's style. As soon as he sat down, he looked at the pile of files in front of him without raising his head. He pulled open the drawer under his elbow and took out a black fountain pen. He removed the pen cap and held it in his hand, which made his fingers look even more slender and long. Help me make an appointment with Director Lin from the court tonight, Jiang Zhao said calmly. Lu Qing hung up Jiang Zhao's suit jacket and returned to his office. Okay. I will do it now. Lu Qing had just left Jiang Zhao's office when he bumped into the youngest daughter of the Provincial Party Committee's secretary, Sung Tingting. Sung Tingting had shoulder-length black hair. She had a graceful figure and a beautiful face. She was dressed in a purple dress. She looked beautiful and virtuous. Wherever she went, people would praise her. Secretary Tsung's youngest daughter was a real lady from a prestigious family. But every time Lu Qing saw her, he could not admire her. This woman was not easy to deal with. Boss did not want to offend people, but he had to serve them. Miss Tsung, you're here. Lu Qing greeted Sung Tingting with the right amount of warmth. Sung Tingting was calm. Hello, Secretary Lu. Where is your boss? There was an unspoken title for superiors in the government. If there was a bigger stage behind, then that stage would be the big boss. Boss is busy. Then please tell him that I want to ask him out for dinner tonight. Sung Tingting did not know how many times she had been rejected by Jiang Zhao. She could not figure out his character, but she did not want to lose face. Lu Qing smiled. Miss Tsung, it's not like you don't know. When boss is busy, no one can disturb him. Miss Tsung, if you want me to lose my job, you have to find me a place to eat porridge first. Sung Tingting laughed. Then you can be my father's secretary, Lu Qing helplessly said. Miss Tsung gave me a bowl of porridge. It's too hot. I can't eat it. If I force myself to drink it, I'm afraid my throat will rot. The office door opened. Jiang Zhao stood there. He was tall and slender. He chuckled. That's great. If Lu Qing can directly become the secretary of the Provincial Party Committee, it will be an honor for our municipal government. I have to call Secretary Tsung and ask him if he asked Miss Tsung to bring the letter. Sung Tingting didn't mind that Jiang Zhao was deliberately keeping a distance from her. She gently combed her hair beside her ear with her fingers, walked to Jiang Zhao's side, and said in a flirtatious voice, You're so boring. It's just a meal with me. Are you afraid that I'll eat you? Awesome novel Songshu 566. Chapter 469. Lu Qing felt that this woman was not as dignified as she looked. Look at what she said, how passionate. He wanted to leave tactfully, but his boss's gaze was clearly telling him that if he dared to take even half a step away, he would be killed. Jiang Zhao turned around and went into the office. Lu Qing followed Sung Tingting in reluctantly but consciously. When Sung Tingting's eyes flashed, Lu Qing blocked it with his lightning rod. Jiang Zhao walked in front and said to Sung Tingting, I'm too old, it's hard to chew. Lu Qing is tender, eat him. It's easy to chew, easy to swallow, and easy to digest. At the mention of this, Jiang Zhao suddenly remembered his conversation with Yi Er that night. It was roughly the same thing, and he couldn't help but smile. Lu Qing automatically went deaf and pretended to help Jiang Zhao look for files in the filing cabinet. Sung Tingting poured herself a cup of tea. Seeing that Jiang Zhao was sitting on the sofa, she sat down opposite him. The smile on her face was still that of a typical young lady from a prestigious family, but when she started to speak, she softly said, Jiang Zhao, don't act so high and mighty. It's not up to you to say no to our matters. As long as my father goes to Grandpa Jiang and talks to him, Grandpa Jiang will immediately agree. At this moment, Jiang Zhao laughed. It was a real laugh. He laughed because the women in this society were really interesting. All of them put on makeup like fairies, dressed like ladies, and sounded like little wives. But when they turned around, they were demons and ghosts. Actually, Tingting. When Sung Tingting heard Jiang Zhao call her that, she was instantly elated. Just as she was about to speak, Jiang Zhao frowned, his eyes expressing his concern. Tingting, I know you're anxious to get married. As your brother, I'm also very worried. There's a dating show on Jiangsu TV that's very popular now, but it's mainly men who choose women. What's similar on Hunan TV? It's women who choose men. How can our Tingting let others choose? You'll definitely be the one to choose. Sung Tingting stood up from her seat. Her lips were white from anger, and her voice was sharp and trembling. Jiang Zhao. Anyway, it wasn't the first time that Sung Tingting had been driven away by Jiang Zhao. Lu Qing didn't feel guilty at all. His mission was complete, and it was time for him to disappear. In the evening, in the private room of a famous chef in Jiangnan, President Lin of the court was pleasantly surprised when he saw Jiang Zhao. The deputy mayor had invited him. This was a big deal. Furthermore, this deputy mayor had a bright future ahead of him. How many families had such strong backing? He remembered that every year during Old Master Qin's birthday, as long as Old Master Jiang came over from Jiang District, the secretary of the provincial party committee would personally arrange for a car to pick him up, for fear that he would be neglected. As for Old Master Qin's strength, he was someone who could shock the entire sea city with just a cough. Director Lin eagerly pulled out a chair for Jiang Zhao and flattered him for a while. Jiang Zhao's demeanor outside was well known. His superiors and subordinates all felt that he had the demeanor of a great master, and did not put on airs. The two of them chatted as they ate. After chatting for nearly half an hour, Jiang Zhao took a sip of hard liquor and clicked his tongue before he slowly said, I heard that Director Lin and Hu Jinchang's wife Zhou Yan were college classmates? Junemo raised his eyebrows slightly. His eyes turned, and they were sharp blades, but there was an unfathomable smile on his face. President Lin, who was chatting with Jiang Zhao, suddenly paused. He was trying to figure out what Jiang Zhao was trying to say. He shouldn't have asked this question for no reason. This should be the main purpose of today's dinner. As a government official, he liked to talk in a bureaucratic manner. Could it be that the first half hour was just to pave the way for this sentence? President Lin couldn't help but feel a chill in his heart. Director Lin looked at Jiang Zhao, who acted as if nothing had happened. He raised his chopsticks and picked up the vegetables. Everyone said that Jiang Zhao never put on airs, and was close to the people and friends. However, the outside world had forgotten to analyze him. Did he, Jiang Zhao, still need to put on airs? Did he need to put on airs? No matter where he sat, his person, his identity, his methods, and the family behind him were all his heirs. Who wouldn't be afraid of him? Some people were like this. You could see that he was amiable and approachable, but in fact, his cold eyebrows could chill your heart. President Lin answered tentatively. Zhou Yan is indeed my classmate. She has also encountered some trouble recently. Jiang Zhao seemed to be surprised, but he also showed some interest. Oh. Then President Lin, you have to be careful. Although the court is a place of justice, she is still an old classmate. I can't let an old classmate be wronged. President Lin only felt that the weather in September was really hot. Although the air conditioner was turned on, he was sweating profusely. Jiangnan's famous chef. The outside world only treated it as a mid-range restaurant. But who in the government doesn't know about this? The waiter can always take out another menu and let you order more than 10,000 renminbi. Today, the dishes on this table were ordered by the upstart politician. At that time, President Lin must order some special dishes. How can he let the deputy mayor treat him to this meal? He also cannot lose face. But there were no outsiders around, and the deputy mayor waved his hand. We have 3 dishes and 1 soup. This is the standard for government officials. My grandfather always said that we should be thrifty and diligent. Every time we come out for a meal, I will always remember his words. I don't dare to forget. I don't dare to forget. Old Master Jiang had already mentioned it. How can he still dare to mention the top-grade chicken wings with 2-head abalone? Since he knew that Zhou Yan was his classmate, how could the mirror of eminence be so high? Could it be that Zhou Yan is fighting with the Yun family for custody rights? Mayor Jiang, you are right. I will definitely take this matter seriously. But no matter if we are classmates or not, we still have to take this matter seriously. Director Lin replied carefully but not without any loopholes. It was a small private room, and the table was for 4 people. It was not spacious. Jiang Zhao held an ordinary Luzhou Laojiao crystal clear bottle. His knuckles looked slender and strong. He raised his hand and stretched the bottle towards the wine glass in front of Director Lin. Director Lin was so frightened that he quickly stood up and held the wine glass with both hands. Jiang Zhao also stood up to pour the wine. Director Lin held his wine glass and watched the bejeweled nectar gurgling into his glass. He was in fear and trepidation. He was someone who had experienced so many cases and had long been very experienced and ruthless. However, today made him unable to calm down. Jiang Zhao poured the wine and smiled. He gestured for President Lin to sit down. President Lin, don't be so polite. You are older than me, and you should pour me a glass of wine. But when you stand up, I don't know how to sit down. President Lin took a deep breath. He could feel that the person in front of him had a strong aura, but he could not feel any pressure from his face. Mayor Jiang, you are too polite. I dare not accept your offer to pour me a glass of wine. Jiang Zhao sat down and said casually, Haha, what's there to be proud of? We're just having a simple meal today. There's nothing serious to talk about. It's not like we're superior or subordinate. There's only the 2 of us here. Do you still have to show off your selflessness in court? How can President Lin stand Jiang Zhao's words? A deputy market manager acting like this in front of the president of the court. If it were anyone else, their heart would be beating fast. President Lin did not dare to show his panic. He sighed. Actually, sometimes, how can we not want to be biased? But the position is there, and we cannot be biased. It is natural to be impartial. Jiang Zhao held a small and exquisite glass cup. He raised it and clinked it with Director Lin's cup. He downed it in one gulp, looking very heroic. Director Lin hurriedly downed it in one gulp, not daring to fall behind. Jiang Zhao comforted him. Yes, I know. Your court also has its own difficulties. This work is also very tiring. Just like what you said at the beginning, everything should be judged reasonably. However, there are some things that are reasonable but not reasonable, and reasonable but not reasonable. How can everyone be satisfied with the result? That's why there is an out-of-court mediation. Who doesn't want to have a peaceful life, right? Jiang Zhao paused for a while and looked at President Lin. The court also does not want to deal with these family matters every day. After all, every family has their own difficulties. President Lin was suddenly enlightened. He finally understood. He was almost 40 years old in the bureaucracy. How could he be so ignorant? Today's meal was clearly a reminder from Jiang Zhao. He couldn't protect Zhou Yan. Not only couldn't he protect her, but he also had to side with the Yun family. So he agreed. Who said no? If the family can handle it, why should we take it to court? Jiang Zhao felt that it was about time. Everyone was smart. How to deal with this matter should be known by President Lin. He began to talk about the recent situation, and did not mention anything about the court. Lu Qing drove Jiang Zhao back to the north of the city. It was still early. They did not eat for long. When they got home, he turned on the lights and changed his shoes. Standing at the door, he looked around. It was still so clean. He liked the house to be clean and tidy. He felt that he could lie down anywhere. Lying on the sofa, he closed his mouth and took a deep breath through his nose. His nostrils were empty. There was nothing but the smell of the house. He sat up in annoyance and rudely tore off his tie. He shouted, Yin Yi, get up and get me some water. Didn't the wretched girl say that she would not go to work until next week? She slept so early. She did not even get him a glass of water when he came back. Seeing that there was no sound in the house, he shook off the alcohol in his head, stood up, and walked to the master bedroom. He twisted the lock and pushed hard. The door bounced off the magnet on the wall with a dong sound. The bed was very clean. There was no trace of the wretched girl. He searched several rooms. Finally, he walked to the shoe cabinet and opened the cabinet door. He was sure that she was not there. Yi-er had just finished making her brother Si-jie's bed. Si-jie took a shower and rushed into Yi-er's room. He jumped onto the bed and pretended to be asleep. Yi-er heard the noise and ran over to pull Si-jie's blanket. "Get up. Go back to your room and sleep." "No. I want to sleep here. The bed here is comfortable. Why should all the good places belong to you?" "Then let's change rooms." When Si-jie heard Yi-er's stubbornness, he pulled the blanket a little and revealed his pitiful eyes. "Sis, I don't want to sleep in a different room from you. I'm still so young. I'll be scared of ghosts." Yi-er mocked. "You'll be scared of ghosts? Even ghosts are scared of you." At this moment, the phone on the bedside table started to sing. Yi-er walked over and picked up the phone. There were 3 words on the screen. Pervert. Ad. Songshu 566. Chapter 470. She took the phone and walked back to Si-jie's room. She closed the door and said, "Hello. Where did you go?" "I'm at home." The busy tone on the other end of the phone made Yi-er feel like she had met a lunatic. Yi-er returned to her room and looked at Si-jie, who was still lying on her bed and refusing to get up. Originally, Si-jie had his own room in the Yin family. However, after the Yin family incident, Si-jie always had dreams at night and would occasionally sob, even though he looked like a strong adult. Yi-er was afraid that something would happen to her brother, so she always brought him to sleep with her. When she rented an apartment in this old neighborhood, the rent was cheaper than a bachelor's apartment, so she rented this one. Her brother slept with her, and the other room was basically used to store miscellaneous items. A few days ago, she accidentally saw an article on the internet about the problem of children sleeping independently. The more she read, the more she felt that there was a problem with her taking care of her brother like this. Si-jie was almost 10 years old, and he couldn't go on like this. After all, she still wanted boys to be more masculine and not stick to women all the time. "Yin Si-jie, get the hell up. I can't roll up. I can only roll from the left to the right." Si-jie's beautiful little face was exposed outside the blanket. He refused to let go of the blanket and rolled left and right according to her instructions. Yi-er's nostrils were fuming. "You want to talk nonsense with me?" Si-jie snorted. "Talking nonsense with you will lower my class. Okay, I'll let you sleep on this bed. I'll sleep in that room from now on." Yi-er had no choice but to take out some clothes from the wardrobe and prepare to take them to the other room. "No." Si-jie immediately kicked the blanket away and jumped up from the bed. He ran to the head of the bed and jumped up. He hung on to Yi-er like a monkey and refused to get down. His bright black eyes stared straight at Yi-er as he shouted, "Yin Yi-er, you dare to abandon me? I won't let you off." Yi-er felt that she was the parent. How could she let this little thing shout at her? She couldn't help but raise her voice. "You have to learn to be independent." Si-jie was indignant. "I'll shower myself and do my own homework. From next week onwards, I don't want you to send me to school, and I don't want you to pick me up from school. I'm very independent." Yi-er took out the information he had found and said, "You have to be mentally independent. If you do that, you won't be manly in the future." "How am I not manly? Half a year ago, Zhou-yin held a banquet at Hongmen. You were so angry that you foolishly paid for the meal. If it weren't for my quick wits, you would have fed Zhou-yin that pile of money. The last time Zhou-yin came over, didn't I hit them with a stool? I'm such an outstanding man. How can I not have a manly spirit?" Yi-er felt that she was really unlucky in this life. Other than her bad temper, her grades were not good, and her mouth was not very good. "Hey Yin Si-jie, if I get married in the future, will you still sleep with me?" Si-jie was still clinging on to Yi-er's body. He hugged her neck and rolled his eyes at her. "Can you get married? You're as stupid as a pig. You're stupid and have a bad temper. How can there be such an idiot man who clearly knows that you're a hot potato and still accept you? You'd better wait for me to grow up and earn money to support you." Yi-er sighed. She hugged Si-jie and sat on the edge of the bed. "Si-jie, then what if you get married in the future? Will you still sleep with your sister? What's the point of getting married? Marry someone like my mother? Husband and wife are birds of the same forest. When disaster strikes, they fly away separately. I don't want that kind of trouble. Yi Er's heart ached. Their mother was a taboo between them. No one was willing to mention it. However, Sijie's attitude also made her very worried. Then won't the Yin family have no descendants? Sijie looked at Yi Er's sad expression and felt that he had gone too far. However, he was unwilling to admit that he was wrong. What are you thinking? Yin Yi Er, I'm only 9 years old. Do you want me to fall in love early? Aren't you afraid that I'll affect my studies? How can you be such an irresponsible parent? How can you instill such an unhealthy concept in your 9-year-old brother? You're not good at studying. Do you want your brother to be like you? Yi Er was really defeated. Why did she have to provoke this guy? Hey, when did I? You're still saying that you didn't? In order to abandon me, you already want me to marry a wife. Sijie's eyes turned red as he spoke. Hey, clearly. Yi Er was about to faint. Others were fine, but this was her brother. He was about to cry. His eyes were so red that it made her heart melt. What a hateful guy. That's clearly what you're thinking. Sijie harumphed, feeling wronged and fierce. Yin Sijie, you've got guts. Go to sleep. Yi Er angrily pressed Silu down on the bed and pulled the quilt over him, covering him completely. If she could use violence against him, she would definitely give him a good beating. She was his guardian, but this guy was violating her right to be his guardian. She still needs to compensate him. Sijie's mobile phone rang again, and Yi Er slapped the blanket covering Sijie's butt. Behave yourself. Sijie huffed and puffed as he turned around, revealing a triumphant smile. Yi Er saw it was a call from Jiang Zhao. She could only go to Sijie's room to answer the call. Hello, Mayor Jiang. Jiang Zhao paused for a while. What are you doing? He had hung up on her, and she did not even call him to ask what was going on. Was this the attitude of someone who was asking for help? Could it be that she knew he had helped her settle this matter and was fearless? Oh, it's time to sleep. Mayor Jiang, you should rest early too. Yi Er felt she must be respectful to this man. She could not afford to offend him. Her brother's matter was not settled yet. Jiang Zhao was furious when he heard Yi Er's tone. You messed up my house, and I can't even find my things. Yi Er felt she was wronged. What things? I didn't touch them. That's right. I had asked you not to touch my things. But my things are in a mess now. Don't you know you need to wash the blanket after sleeping on it? Have you washed it? Come down now. Come down. You are downstairs. 1.5 minutes. Yi Er gritted her teeth. This guy was indeed a pervert. When did she touch his things? He was the one who left them in a mess, and now he is blaming her? That blanket had just been washed. How can she wash it after sleeping on it? Why didn't he buy some disposable bedding? Anyway, he was rich. But you still have 1 minute and 20 seconds. If not, your brother's matter. Yi Er scolded in her heart. Damn Jiang Zhao, you bastard. But she still called out softly. Sir, please wait for a while. I will come down now. Yi Er did not even change out of her pajamas and slippers. She told Sijie that she was going to buy a bag of chips and rushed downstairs. Jiang Zhao's private car was parked in an old building, and it did not match the place. This neighborhood was 80 years old, and most of the residents were retired. Even if there were young people who were working and renting a house, they would not be able to afford an Audi A8. Yi Er opened Jiang Zhao's car door and sat in it. She was panting and mumbling. So bloody. 1 minute and 20 seconds. Jiang Zhao raised his wrist and looked at his watch. The corners of his mouth curled up into a carefree smile. It's pretty bloody. You came down in just 40 seconds. It seems like you're crazy about seeing me. As he spoke, he started the car. Yi Er scolded in her heart. She saw that Jiang Zhao's actions were not right. She immediately turned the car key in the opposite direction, and the car turned off. She asked anxiously, Hey, where are you taking me? Where are we going? Jiang Zhao frowned. Was this woman pretending to be an idiot in front of him? Where could he be taking her so late at night? Sijie is still waiting for me at home. We agreed that we would go up after buying a bag of chips. Oh right, I really didn't touch anything in your house. I swear. If you can't stand the smell of other people's blankets, you can sleep in the guest room for 2 days. When Si-jie goes to school, I will wash it for you. Yi-er sat on the leather seat and looked at Jiang Zhao. She had just taken a shower, and her body was still emitting the fragrance of a shower. Her long hair was wet, and she was wearing a straight cartoon nightgown. She had run in a hurry, so she spoke in a hurry. Her little face was flushed, and she looked very cute. At this time, she looked like a 19-year-old girl. Her skin was as tender as a freshly peeled lychee, and there was not a single trace of powder on it. Jiang Zhao had an idea. He reached out and pinched Yi-er's face. Then I will send you back later. Yi-er saw the dark green light in Jiang Zhao's eyes. She suddenly understood what he meant. No. Jiang Zhao raised his eyebrows slightly. He said in a neutral tone, "You want to negotiate with me?" Yi-er knew that Jiang Zhao was angry. Angry? This man was not someone she could offend. Even if she wanted to offend him, she would have to wait until the matter with her little brother was over. Otherwise, she would have wasted the night she slept with him last night. As a result, a certain someone's spine softened and she leaned against Jiang Zhao. She stretched out her slender arm and hooked it around his neck. Her chin rested on his shoulder, and her lips pressed against his ear. She said softly, "My lord, my younger brother is only 9 years old. What if he sees that I haven't returned and runs around blindly? What if he gets lost?" Jiang Zhao could feel the demonic aura that made him shudder. He leaned closer to the front passenger seat and pinched Yi-er's chin with his big hand. His fingers, which were slightly cold in the summer, rubbed Yi-er's soft lips. He said in a low voice, "Then go and tell him that a friend is looking for him. He has something to tell me." The kiss was more beautiful than she had imagined. It was also more terrifying than she had imagined. Her breathing was rapid, and her heart was beating wildly. The man's hug was unbearable and passionate. However, other than instinct, there was no other emotion. Yi-er allowed Jiang Zhao to kiss her for a long time before pushing him away. She begged, "Monday, okay? I'll go over to accompany you after work. My little brother is still young. He'll be scared if he doesn't see me. Other than this, I'll promise you anything." She did not dare to think that Jiang Zhao would agree. However, at this moment, Jiang Zhao unexpectedly let go of her. Jiang Zhao adjusted his breathing and took a golden card from the dashboard. He held it between 2 fingers and handed it to Yi-er. "Take this back." Jiang Zhao placed the card in Yi-er's palm. The righteous expression on his face disappeared. He leaned forward and bit Yi-er's ear. His slender fingers hooked open the round collar of Yi-er's pajamas, allowing some light to enter his lowered gaze. The man chuckled. "Don't you think your body is more valuable?" Attention Hongcha 866. Chapter 471. Don't you think that your body is more valuable? You can go there on Monday. Yi-er had finally made up her mind. She was a prostitute. She had wanted to sell herself to Min Zikai, but Min Zikai's mother appeared out of nowhere. After that, she chose a good-looking and powerful buyer. Before her brother's matter was settled, she had to follow the buyer's orders. She had no other choice. She was lucky that the buyer had taken a liking to her. Other than Jiang Zhao, no one else would dare to take over her business. "Thank you for your kind words, Mayor. I will keep it then." Yi-er showed a bright smile and rubbed the card between her hands. She looked like she was rubbing her hands in the middle of winter to keep warm. On Saturday, Yi-er brought Si-jie to see her father in prison. Both of them told each other that they were doing well, and did not need to worry. After sending Si-jie to school on Monday, Yi-er went to Wudong Street. No matter how hot it was outside, this street was always cool. Those century-old Wudong trees had deep roots and could cover the sky. No matter how strong the sun was, it could still isolate the trees from this street. Therefore, those artists could use a comfortable posture to dip in ink and paint. Yi-er stood beside the boy and watched him earn money through art without saying a word. A sketch cost 30 renminbi, a coloring cost 30 renminbi, and an oil painting cost 300 renminbi. The boy's skin was fair, and his hair was not permed or dyed like other children his age. His hairstyle was simple and clean. His fringe was blown by the wind and covered half of his straight eyebrows. He was focused on painting and dipping the paint. He looked very beautiful. After the buyer left, Yi started to joke with the boy. Hey, not bad. You must be a household worth 10,000 renminbi now. The boy replied indifferently. It's not like there are people painting oil paintings every day. Yi felt bored and asked, what is art? The boy lowered his head and kept the paint. Then what do you think art is? Yi looked at the glaring sunlight outside the tree. I think beautiful things are art. The boy casually asked. Like you. Yi tilted his head and looked at the boy. Am I beautiful? The boy put down the paint in his hands and looked at Yi with a smile. That smile was as clean as the spring breeze that blew through the peach blossoms and white apricots, making one's heart flutter. Not beautiful. Yi couldn't help but feel disappointed. Yeah, I also feel that. I'm not beautiful. She didn't deserve to be associated with the word beautiful. Only those with pure hearts had the right to be beautiful. For example, this boy would never say anything that went against his heart. If he felt bad, he would say no. If he felt good, he would say yes. He was beautiful and clean. He didn't need to look at anyone's face to live his life. He didn't need to rely on anyone. He was unrestrained. If nothing had happened to the Yun family, she would have been like this as well, doing what she liked to do and learning what she was interested in. She suddenly felt that she was thinking too much. Shaking her head, she reached out and patted the boy's shoulder. Hey, do you know anyone on this street who is good at drawing human figures? The more reliable one, the kind that can make ugly things look beautiful. The smile on the boy's face suddenly disappeared. He looked at Yi with a startled expression and a hint of panic. Yi retreated to the foot of the wall by the street. The boy's bicycle was there. She lifted her butt and sat on the back seat. Swinging her legs, she looked into the boy's eyes and puffed up her cheeks. I'm almost 19 years old. I want to draw a more artistic human figure as a memento. It would be best if you could draw me prettier. The boy only felt that he was a little silly. He was scared silly by this girl in front of him. What did she say she wanted to do? Draw a human figure? Let someone draw a human figure for her? Doesn't your school often hire human figures? Isn't it art? The boy's head felt as if it had been hit by something. He could no longer distinguish what he was hearing. You want to be a human figure? Why are you so loud? Yi raised her hand to her lips and made a shushing motion. Be quiet. Otherwise, people will look over. The boy snorted and turned his head away from Yi. You actually want to be a human figure? Yi jumped down from the bicycle. What's wrong? Even if I want to be a human figure, isn't that also a sacrifice for art? Don't you artists also say that the human figure is the most beautiful art? Besides, she had never thought of being a human figure. She just wanted to leave a memento for herself. How did it get to the point where she wanted to be a human figure? Yi walked forward and happened to see stars when the boy suddenly turned his head and knocked it against her head. She held her forehead and complained. What are you doing? You have such a bad temper. You really want to be a human figure? How can you be so depraved? Yi rubbed her forehead and looked at the boy who was angry for no reason. Depraved? Then all the naked bodies that your school draws are depraved? That's different. How is it different? Aren't they all art? You don't look like art. You're not suitable. Yi saw that the boy was shouting at her with a red face. It turned out that such a good-tempered boy couldn't stand her vulgarity. She couldn't help but feel lonely and sighed. Am I that bad? If I'm not beautiful, then I can't even be drawn beautifully? The afternoon sun was scorching. It shone through the floor-to-ceiling windows of the five-star hotel and lingered there. The girl looked at the sunlight on the ground. Her eyelashes were curled up like little brushes with gold powder. Her long yellow hair was brushed to the left, revealing the perfect side of her face. Her arms were bent and propped up on the European-style sofa. Her fair and tender arms were in front of her chest, but they revealed a little of her alluring bosom. Her smooth back and waist were curved upwards. The curve was very seductive. Her perky buttocks were covered with a thin veil that made one's heart clench and want to tear it off. The room was so quiet that one could almost hear the sound of an hourglass. The boy stood 2 meters away from the sofa. In front of him was a drawing board. From time to time he would look up at the model on the sofa. Then he would start drawing. His movements were smooth, focused, and elegant. The girl on the paper not only had a beautiful face and a seductive figure, but her pair of feet that were kicking backward made her look playful and cute. Yi didn't feel the slightest pressure because her artist's eyes were too clean. You couldn't see anything other than paint in his eyes. She didn't expect that the boy would help her draw, because she always felt that they weren't from the same world. She was dirty and filthy, but he was pure and flawless. If she let him draw her, she was afraid that he would be dirty. But she was afraid that she would become dirtier and dirtier in the future. Before she was completely dirty, she wanted to leave something for herself to remember. Who wouldn't want to keep something that was still considered beautiful? Time didn't stop ticking, but what was done would come to an end. Yi put on her clothes and looked at the drawing that was still clipped to the drawing board. She reached out to touch it. The boy grabbed her hand and flung it away. You haven't done anything yet. What are you touching? Ah. Then what should I do? How can I take it away? The boy didn't look at the drawing or Yi. He put away the paintbrush and paint and put them into a tool bag. Take it away. You can take it when it's dry and I'll frame it. Okay then. I'll go to Wutong Street to look for you in a few days. The boy kept his head down and busied himself with his work. Okay. You can go first. I'll wait for this drawing to dry before I leave. Otherwise, it'll be a waste of time. Then I'll have to trouble you. Yi felt a little guilty. She felt that she had taken advantage of the boy, because she had known him for a long time. When I get the drawing, I'll return the hard-earned money for the hotel room. No need. I'll put it in the drawing. Why aren't you leaving? Okay. When the boy heard the door close, he raised his head and looked at the tightly shut door. Suddenly, he slumped to the ground and laid down on the thick and soft carpet. His dark eyelashes drooped over his eyes, blocking all the emotions in his eyes as he breathed heavily. He covered his chest with his hand and frowned. His heart was thumping nonstop. The frantic rhythm of his heart was unfamiliar to him. It was as if the sound in his ears was coming from someone else's chest. City Government Office Building. In the Deputy Mayor's office, Secretary Lu Cheng was reviewing Jiang Zhao's schedule. When he heard someone knocking on the door, he wanted to go and take a look. But this person seemed to be very influential. He directly locked the door and entered the office. When he saw Qin Fian, Lu Cheng smiled helplessly. Nice to meet you, Chairman Qin. Qin Fian and Lu Cheng were quite close. How many times have I told you? Don't call me Chairman Qin. Call me Fian, Young Master Yan, Chairman Qin, or even Boss Qin. Don't call me Chairman Qin. Lu Cheng shrugged his shoulders. It's all the same. After that, he went to pour a cup of tea for Qin Fian and left the office. Qin Fian took off his suit and turned to hang it on the coat rack. He had an innocent smile on his face. Brother, look at what Lu Cheng said. How can it be the same? I'm so single-minded. I'm not a romantic. Haha. Jiang Zhao couldn't help but stop writing. He looked at Qin Fian and placed his elbows on the desk. Fian, when are you going to bring your lover to me? Qin Fian walked to Jiang Zhao's desk and sat down. After all, my sacred love is still not mainstream. For the sake of my future, I think it's better to have an underground relationship. Jiang Zhao stood up, bent over and slapped Qin Fian's butt. I think it's better to put my butt on the chair in front of you. Qin Fian stood up, turned around and sat on the chair. He sighed. You only know how to bully the good people. Really, Jiang Zhao couldn't be bothered with him. He continued to flip through the files seriously. What are you doing here? Brother, what are you arguing about with Yichen? It's nothing. Qin Fian was a sly fox. When he heard Zhuang Yichen nodding but didn't hear the end of it, he felt uncomfortable. Hence, he started to talk nonsense. Is it necessary to do this for a woman? Jiang Zhao raised his head and looked into Qin Fian's eyes. He lowered his head again. What nonsense are you talking about? Qin Fian's intuition told him that there was something going on. He acted as if he was trying to mediate the fight. Actually, it's not necessary. It's just a woman. Brother, we're brothers. You're hurting our friendship over a woman. Attention Hongcha 866. Chapter 472. Jiang Zhao said, "It's not about the woman." Qin Fian was at his wit's end. Was it that difficult to get information out of him? "Brother, you're older than Yi Chen. Why don't you just let him have his way?" Jiang Zhao licked his lips. "It's not about the woman. It's about who is in charge." Qin Fian dared to conclude that it was for a woman, but he didn't know why. He was so anxious that his heart was scratching like a cat, but he didn't dare to speak too confidently, for fear that he would miss out on a word or two. Jiang Zhao didn't know what Qin Fian was thinking. He asked, "Are you very free?" "I miss you," Qin Fian said casually. Jiang Zhao put the signed documents in front of him into a craft paper folder. He wrapped the folder with a white cotton thread and put it on his left hand. "Oh, you know that I like women." Qin Fian pursed his lips. "Even if you like men, I don't want to be incestuous. My taste isn't that heavy." Jiang Zhao picked up a folder on his right hand and took out the documents. He glanced at Qin Fian. "Your taste is so light. You have the lightest taste in our family." "That goes without saying. I don't even put salt in my food." Jiang Zhao couldn't help but laugh. In Haicheng, only Qin Fian dared to say that he was gay. He never felt that he was embarrassing his grandfather. "Yes, not only do you not put salt, but you also don't use fire. You just eat it raw." "Miss Tseng, you're here?" Jiang Zhao and Qin Fian heard Lu Cheng's voice outside the door and stopped talking. Qin Fian winked at Jiang Zhao. "Actually, Tseng Tingting is quite nice. You can try." Qin Fian shook his head and shrugged his shoulders to show that he couldn't accept it. "You know that I'm very loyal." Tseng Tingting was caught eavesdropping at the door by Lu Cheng. At this time, how could she care about being polite? The only thing on his mind was Qin Fian's question to Jiang Zhao. And the reason he was at odds with Zhuang Yichen was because of a woman. Women. Didn't the Ouyangyan dump him long ago? This hurt Tseng Tingting's self-esteem too much. All these years, she had treated Jiang Zhao as Tang Seng, but where did this woman come from? It was Tseng Tingting's first time entering the house. She used the same imposing manner as when she went out in the past. She was arrogant. Lu Qing knew that Qin Fian was there, so he didn't need to be in the way. He immediately closed the door and didn't dare to let strangers near the office. Tseng Tingting walked up to Jiang Zhao's desk and banged on it. She craned her neck and said, "Jiang Zhao, in life, you belong to me, Tseng Tingting, and in death, you belong to me. My father has already acquiesced to us being together. If you dare to fool around outside, I'll turn you into a eunuch." Jiang Zhao acted as if he didn't hear her at all. He said to Qin Fian, "Fian, didn't you miss me? Where are you going tonight?" Qin Fian pushed up the refined frame glasses on his nose and frowned. His devilish face looked miserable as he said, "Bro, you've broken my moral integrity to the point where I can't even pick it up. I still need a good reputation. Actually, I've never had any thoughts of incest." Tseng Tingting was about to go crazy from being ignored. She grabbed the pen holder on the table and was about to throw it at Jiang Zhao when Qin Fian's soul-stirring phoenix eyes suddenly lit up. He shouted, "Oh my God! I finally understand why there are more and more gays. It's because women are tigers." Tseng Tingting slammed the pen holder on the table. She glared at Jiang Zhao with her black eyes. She lifted her chin and her neck tensed up. "Jiang Zhao, don't blame me for not reminding you. If I find out which woman it is, I'll kill her." After Tseng Tingting left, Qin Fian patted his chest. "She's too fierce. She doesn't look like a woman at all. Luckily, I like men," Jiang Zhao said. "Your boyfriend might become like that one day." Qin Fian was cold outside, but he smiled mischievously after closing the door. He said, "Bro, my boyfriend is very understanding." Then he paused. "Oh right, that woman of yours?" He wanted to ask what she did, how old she was, and which family she was from. But he was afraid that if he asked, Jiang Zhao would think that he didn't know anything, so he didn't say anything. "Very ordinary." Qin Fian got up and leaned on the table. He lowered his head to look at Jiang Zhao's eyes. "Bro, so you don't like Sister Yin anymore?" Jiang Zhao said calmly. "It seems that you're really free. You're definitely not interested in studying the direction of the second subway line." Qin Fian immediately stood up and turned around. He went to the coat rack to take his suit. "I'll go first." Bro, you're my brother. Jiang Zhao shook his head and chuckled. At night, Yi Er went to work at Peerless Beauty. She returned to her previous state of keeping a low profile. But she was mentally ill. She was afraid of delivering wine to Zhaojun, and didn't dare to step in. But her mother, Manager Wang, who was covered in knives, insisted that she go. She wore a waiter's uniform. According to the rules, she delivered the wine to the door, and rang the bell to ask the princess to come out and get the wine. But the princess wanted her to deliver it personally. The reason was that someone was looking for her. Who? The princess looked around and whispered, "Second young Master Zhuang." Yi Er only felt that 2 of her 3 souls and 7 spirits were missing. She was not far from death. Well, our workroom is very busy right now. My dear princess, please help to deliver the wine. Of course, the result didn't change because of the pleading. Yi Er handed the wine to the princess in fear, and entered the private room. Zhuang Yichen sat there calmly. His imposing manner made Yi Er panic. He raised his hand and waved at Yi Er. Yi Er was so scared that her legs trembled. Yi Er prepared for the worst. She didn't know what Zhuang Yichen would do to her, but she had to smile hypocritically. She was not the kind of young lady who would throw a tantrum easily and throw a wine bottle at a guest. She would slap him if he touched her, and she would fight him if he kissed her. She would brag if she did not come. "If you dare to touch me, I will die in front of you." Forget it. If she really thought of herself as so noble, why would she come to this kind of place? Moreover, she wasn't even afraid of death. Why would she be afraid of living shamelessly? In this private room, there was only Zhuang Yichen and the princess. He didn't even call her Miss. Yi Er dared to conclude that Zhaojun was the base of Jiang Zhao's group. It was just that she didn't have the chance to deliver the wine before. "Young Master Chen." Yi Er stood still, bowed politely, and called out timidly, "Sit." Zhuang Yichen said coldly. Yi Er didn't dare to sit. After all, the lighting in the private room wasn't very good. Although she wasn't noble, she was still afraid of being violated by men. "Go and get yourself a leather stool." Yi Er immediately turned around and asked the princess for a short, cylindrical leather stool. She carried it over and sat down across from Zhuang Yichen at the marble table. Zhuang Yichen leaned back, and his broad shoulders sank into the sofa. He spoke first. "What's your relationship with Mayor Jiang?" "Ah." Yi Er pretended to be dumb. "It's not smart to pretend to be dumb. I have nothing to do with him." Zhuang Yichen sneered. "Then Mayor Jiang is really kind." Yi Er was afraid that she had said something wrong, and continued Zhuang Yichen's words. She pretended to be emotional. "Mayor Jiang is really working hard for the country and the people." Zhuang Yichen sneered. "Miss from Yun University, aren't you afraid of meeting someone you know here?" Yi Er didn't mind. "If I meet them, I will definitely ask them to come over and take care of business. Young acquaintances will not come to such a private nightclub. Even if they meet uncles, they will not talk about it. They are afraid that she will spread rumors." "You are quite open-minded." "It's okay. It's just survival of the fittest." Zhuang Yichen chatted with Yi Er casually and texted at the same time. He also didn't ask Yi Er to leave. Yi Er kept looking at the princess bar counter near the entrance. Luckily, there were still people around. If she was killed, there would be witnesses. Suddenly, the private room's elevator doors opened. Ding! With a sound, the door of the sedan opened. Jiang Zhao's handsome face was gloomy, and there was a kind of travel-worn smell. When he walked towards them, he put on an expressionless face. "Yichen, you are free," Jiang Zhao said and glanced at Yi Er, who was sitting on the leather stool. Yi Er face-bombed. "Of course I am not as busy as Brother Zhao." Zhuang Yichen stood up and gave Jiang Zhao a friendly fist bump. Yi Er's heart was beating like a drum when she heard these 2 people talking like there was a needle hidden in cotton. Jiang Zhao sat down beside Zhuang Yichen and looked at Yi Er coldly. "Why are you sitting here? Do you want to eavesdrop on our conversation?" Yi Er was so excited that his heart almost jumped out of his chest. He stood up immediately. "Then I shall not disturb you. Young Master Chen, Mayor Jiang, please take your time." Then he ran away. Zhuang Yichen looked at the door of the private room after the girl ran out and closed it. He poured a glass of wine for Jiang Zhao and smiled. Brother Zhao, why are you in such a hurry? I told you that I only want her to have a drink here. You still don't believe me? Jiang Zhao's expression was unreadable. He tapped the side of the wine glass, indicating that it was enough. You're thinking too much. Zhuang Yichen stared at the leather stool Yi had sat on and did not say anything for a long time. He leisurely swirled the crystal cup in his hand. The amber liquid inside sparkled under the dim light. After a while he tilted his head to look at Jiang Zhao. His brows relaxed, but he could not hide the seriousness in them. He slowly said, Brother Zhao, I want to play a game of chess with you. Jiang Zhao looked at Zhuang Yichen and narrowed his eyes. He frowned when he saw the smile on Zhuang Yichen's face. Zhuang Yichen asked the princess to leave the private room. He knew that Jiang Zhao had always been conservative with his words and would not leave any room for gossip. He would not casually make a promise to express his attitude. He only needed to start and see if Jiang Zhao was interested. You know the reason why no one dares to not touch Yin Hongwei's case. He is just a scapegoat. Jiang Zhao nodded. Yes, the government is like a magnetic field. It's the same principle as the business world. It has its own balance. When it comes to scapegoats, there's only the beginning and not the end. Yin Hongwei is involved in this more or less because of himself. He is on the wrong team. The magnetic field needs to be reshuffled. It is reasonable for him to be the first to be involved. Yes, that makes sense. Zhuang Yichen bent down and reached out to pick up an exquisite steel cigarette case with a dragon totem on the marble table. With a little pressure from his fingers, the lid of the case opened. There was only one cigarette inside. He closed the lid and threw it on the table. He sat up straight and held the crystal glass, but did not touch it. No one dares to touch Yin Hongwei's case, but we don't know who the big boss is. Brother Zhao, don't you know? Attention, Songshu 566. Chapter 473. Zhuang Yichen's tone had always been unhurried. Whether it was him or Jiang Zhao, they were used to this way of speaking. They were able to express their intentions, stabilize their aura, and not let others steal their true thoughts. They left room for leeway and could also test others. Jiang Zhao's sudden anxiety when he first stepped out of the elevator disappeared without a trace. At this moment, there was only a steady and restrained calmness. He leaned forward and opened the exquisite cigarette box. He held the cigarette in the corner of his mouth and took out a lighter. With a ding, he flicked open the lid. With a click, the bright orange flame wrapped in a faint blue core appeared in front of him. The flame was extinguished with a crackling sound. The smoke coming out of his mouth was accompanied by a soft sigh. Yichen, we've been brothers for 15 years, right? It started when Mom and I transferred to High City. A trace of warmth appeared on Zhuang Yichen's face, and the corners of his mouth curled up slightly. There are some things that you should let go of. Eager for quick success and instant benefits can sometimes lead to a complete loss. The gains don't make up for the losses. Brother Zhao, do you really know the big boss behind the scenes? Is it someone from the provincial party committee? What if I'm talking about a boss even higher up? Zhuang Yichen shook his head and gritted his teeth. Impossible. Zhuang Jingren can't have such great power. Jiang Zhao took another puff of his cigarette. The light from the cigarette, but looked brighter than the lights in the room. He frowned and pressed the cigarette into the heavy crystal ashtray. No matter what, Zhuang Jingren is still your father. You're now ranked at the top of the invisible rich list. They don't know your true strength at all. Isn't that enough? It'll never be enough until I see the entire Zhuang family die, Zhuang Yichen said lightly, as if he was talking about something unrelated. Yichen, your surname is also Zhuang. My surname is Zhuang after my mother's. The conversation reached a bottleneck that they always encountered. Zhuang Yichen raised his head and drank the wine in his hand, leaving not a drop behind. He casually threw the glass away, and it landed steadily on the table. It only shook a few times before falling flat. Zhuang Yichen casually but heavily leaned on the sofa. His voice lowered as he said slowly, If I say that I want to intervene in Yin Hongwei's case, what do you think, Brother Zhao? Have you heard of something recently? Jiang Zhao did not answer Zhuang Yichen directly. He did not want to continue this topic. The tacit understanding between Jiang Zhao and Zhuang Yichen was based on their 15 years of friendship. They made use of each other, but they also treated each other with sincerity. It sounded paradoxical, but there was nothing wrong. There's no way you don't know about the rise of a new family in Sea City. Zhuang Yichen's interest was suddenly piqued. You mean the Shi family in the south? Yes, Haiqing started out 2 years ago. At first, they did import and export business. Then they moved into hotels and real estate. This year, they acquired a game software company with potential. They're developing at an astonishing speed. Zhuang Yichen wasn't surprised. He already knew. A new family that can establish themselves in Haiqing in 2 years and expand their business to such a large extent must have a lot of money. Otherwise, they're also from the Red Sect. Jiang Zhao shook his head. Not too much. But I can't find any information about them. You want me to help you investigate? Jiang Zhao said. I want to know the background of these powerful families. It's not convenient for my dad to use the military's resources to investigate some things. You've always known the bottom line. Haiqing needs to be a big cake for my political achievements to come out quickly. Zhuang Yichen laughed out loud. You still have the nerve to say that I'm eager for quick success? We're just the same. Besides, you're trying to pull people in to steal the cake from me. Why should I help you investigate? Jiang Zhao smiled faintly. There's no such thing as an eternal enemy. Enemies can work together. Plus, from what I see, you might end up eating them. You've always had the ability to do that. Zhuang Yichen raised his eyebrows. You sound so confident. Aren't you afraid that I'll eat you one day? Jiang Zhao didn't seem to care, but his tone was confident. You'll never eat your own food and let it rot. Zhuang Yichen laughed out loud again. When Yi Er was about to get off work, she received a message from Jiang Zhao telling her not to see him for the time being. Yi Er couldn't wait to see him. Whenever she saw that crazy iron plate, she had to pretend to be a grandson, a demure lady, and a pitiful one. She didn't even get nominated for an Oscar, Golden Horse, Golden Rooster, or Golden Eagle awards. She still had to work hard to act. The next time she participated in China's Best Acting, I'm an actress, she would definitely become famous. Ye returned home. Early the next morning, Zhou Yan came looking for her and had a big fight. Not only did this ruckus not affect Yi Er's mood, but it also gave her an indescribable sense of joy. She finally understood the beauty of power. Previously, she only felt the darkness and filth of power. Power made her run into a wall everywhere. She had to beg for help, learn to live by people's expressions and be cautious. In the past year, she only felt that power was like a demon's hand, choking her neck. She didn't die, but she couldn't breathe properly. In the face of power, she knew that there were things in this world that were more unfair and filthy than money. Money could buy a lot of things, but sometimes, no amount of money could buy an unspoken rule under the balance of power. For example, her father. The more Zhou Yan's face was red, the more she felt that the sky was blue. Zhou Yan's face was full of disdain. Yin Yi, whose bed did you climb into this time? Yi Er wasn't stupid enough to mention Jiang Zhao. Do you think everyone is like you? Climbing into the driver's bed? Don't blame me for not reminding you. The next time you come here to cause trouble, my mouth won't be shut because of our blood relationship. Xiao Jie belongs to me. That's justice. Zhou Yan felt guilty, but she didn't want to be at a disadvantage. Nonsense. The president of the court is my university classmate. He changed his mind at the last minute. Yin Yi, I didn't expect you to be so cheap now. She knew that this matter wasn't so simple. Not only was Director Lin her classmate, but the Yuan family had also given her a lot of benefits. Now all the money had been refunded. If Yin Yi didn't have someone above her, how could such a big change have happened? Yi Er smiled sourly. Oh, Mrs. Yuan, you're the wife of a wealthy family after all. You should pay attention to your manners when you speak. It's okay for me to swear a little, but for someone of your status, the stock price of the Yuan Corporation will fall if you say it out loud. After Yi Er finished speaking, he threw Zhou Yan away rudely. She almost fell flat on her face. With a bang, the door slammed shut. Zhou Yan was locked outside. No matter how much she slammed the door and cursed, Yi-er ignored her. Ever since Yi-er found out that her brother's matter had been resolved, she was relieved. She knew that she couldn't mention her father in front of Jiang Zhao. Since her brother's matter had been resolved, she didn't need to care about him anymore. Therefore Yi-er, who was still sleeping in on Wednesday, immediately hung up after receiving Jiang Zhao's call. At night, when she went to work, she received a text message from Jiang Zhao. The content was for her to go to the apartment in the north of the city after work. She deleted it immediately. Bah! Despicable. She had nothing to ask of him now. She could totally turn her back on him. After work, she went home at 2:30 a.m. and took a shower. Jiang Zhao's life had been smooth sailing. Even if someone wanted to fight with him, they didn't dare to do it openly. It had always been others who tried to curry favor with him. Because of his family background and his political achievements, the government naturally flourished. With such a smooth life, how could he tolerate Yi-er's malicious neglect? Therefore, when Yi-er came out of the shower and picked up an unfamiliar call, she only heard the man's cold voice. Get down here immediately. 40 seconds. Otherwise, within 2 days, Yin Sijie will change his surname to Yuan. Yi-er felt cold from head to toe. How could she be so stupid? This matter was orchestrated by Jiang Zhao. It was easy for him to change his mind. How did she get carried away by joy at that time? This time, Yi-er was wrapped in a bath towel. She pulled open Jiang Zhao's car door and got in. Jiang Zhao raised his wrist to look at his watch. The lines on his handsome face seemed particularly stiff under the restless anger. He coldly mocked, "You've improved. 37 seconds. It seems like you want to see me even more than last time." Yi-er didn't care about Jiang Zhao's expression. She just wanted to act coquettishly and put her arms around his neck. "Lord, of course I want to see you. You're so handsome, confident and wise, Jiang Zhao." Oh. He slowly pushed Yi-er away and glanced at her. Last time, she took a shower and wore pajamas. This time, she ran out of the bathroom directly, right? This woman really needs to be taught a lesson. If I don't teach her a lesson, she will never know what is bitter and what is sweet. Such a handsome, confident, and wise man called you. How would you react? Yi-er laughed awkwardly and pretended to be excited. Yeah, of course, I would be flattered. Jiang Zhao asked again. Then what about texting you? Of course, I would be ecstatic. Jiang Zhao sneered. So being flattered means hanging up the phone. Being ecstatic means turning a blind eye? Yi-er felt that she was not far from death. She immediately denied it. How could it be? Jiang Zhao didn't say anything and started the car. Yi-er then realized that she was only wrapped in a bath towel. She quickly pulled his sleeve and shook it. Mayor, can you let me go home and get some clothes? Jiang Zhao snorted and smiled. It's very late. Time is money. Why should I waste money for you? Yi-er's flattering smile froze on her face. She thought that this guy must have eaten poisonous snakes since he was a child. Otherwise, how could he speak so viciously? Yi-er pointed at the bath towel on her body and said embarrassedly, "Isn't this an eyesore?" Jiang Zhao put his hand on Yi-er's thigh and pinched it hard. His eyes were fixed on the road ahead, and a wicked smile hung on the corner of his mouth. Don't you know that I like to see you without even a towel around yourself? This bath towel is really an eyesore. Yi-er took a deep breath. She was really defeated by him. She was originally tall. She was afraid that the car would be seen when driving out of the community, so she slid down. She hated herself for being so immature. Why couldn't she offend anyone? So, is this the consequence of biting the hand that feeds you? In ancient times, women dared to marry men easily. Why did she have to calculate it so clearly? Now, she was not afraid of what he would do to her when she went to the apartment in the north of the city. Anyway, it was not the first time. At most, it would be the same old tricks. She was worried about how she would come back tomorrow. Would she take a taxi out of the community wrapped in a bath towel? Why was Jiang Zhao so stubborn? Was he not afraid that she would go out and say that they were in a relationship? The more she thought about it, the more scared she felt. How strong was his heart? She was now the daughter of an economic criminal. Wasn't his stance a little too cold and indifferent? Awesome novel, Xingwu 799. Chapter 474. Mayor, don't you think it will be bad for you if we are caught like this? Jiang Zhao replied casually. Huh? You want to report to the police? I don't dare to do that. I am not that stupid. Yi Er felt she was not interested in talking to Dong Xuebing about these useless things. She should be more concerned about the things in front of her. Then I don't have any clothes. Will you send me back? Jiang Zhao turned and looked at Yi Er. Suddenly, he changed his cold expression and smiled gently. I had wanted to send you back. But it's late now. I need to rest. Yi Er quickly gave in and said, It's okay. You can sleep until you wake up. Jiang Zhao continued to look at the road while driving. He still has a gentle smile on his face, and his voice was filled with love. But my Xiao Bao Bei, there are many people in the morning. If you get into my car like this, you will be an eyesore. When Yi Er heard Jiang Zhao calling her Xiao Bao Bei, she almost vomited yesterday's dinner. But when she heard what Dong Xuebing said, she only wanted to find a big basin and vomit blood. This fellow looks like he is going to be soft-hearted. She thought he was going to be a gentleman. But in the end he was still taking revenge on her. She was thinking about what Jiang Zhao would do. When they first met, she tried to threaten him. This will not work. If this fellow could threaten her, she would not be raped by him. When they met at the nightclub, they were at loggerheads. This will not work either. If he could threaten her, she would not be forced to drink vodka. When they met the robbers on the streets, she would pester him and act cute. When she went to his place to seduce him and beg for his help. Oh my God. Does he really like that kind of woman? That kind of woman who does not have any thorns? Are you kidding me? Mayor Jiang, you are too tasteless. You should at least have a better taste. For example, a woman with a better personality. That way, I will not have to act so hard. The car was parked in the garage. Yi Er took the keys and went upstairs first. Jiang Zhao slowly followed behind. As soon as he entered, Yi Er, who was wearing Jiang Zhao's pajamas, placed the shoes in front of him. Yi Er was tall to begin with. When she wore Jiang Zhao's pajamas, it could be used as a short dress. It was just right. When she looked at Jiang Zhao, she smiled brightly and said in a coquettish voice, Ah Zhao, shall I cook something for you? It's already so late. You must be hungry. I'm already boiling water. I'll cook some noodles for you. Without giving Jiang Zhao a chance to refuse, Yi Er dashed into the kitchen at the speed of a 100-meter dash. Jiang Zhao was 100% sure that the areas covered by his shirt were already covered with countless goosebumps, and they were even spreading to other areas beyond his neck. The goosebumps had already risen to his throat, and he wanted to quickly find a corner to shake off this mushy, bloody, and scalp-numbing thing. It was 2F** king disgusting. Yi Er did not care if Jiang Zhao was disgusting or not. She ran to the kitchen and almost vomited. She pretended to slap herself. Ah Zhao. She wanted to take a pair of scissors and cut her tongue. How could she call him that? It was too disgusting. When an arrogant man was angry because someone had crossed his bottom line and was waiting for an opportunity to take revenge, he met a thick-skinned woman who only knows how to act cute and coquettishly. What kind of scene would this be? Jiang Zhao finally got rid of the goosebumps. But he stood at the same spot and did not know what to do. No one had taught him how to deal with this kind of woman. If she dares to threaten him, he will trample her to death. If she dares to talk back to him, he will crush her to death. If she dares to fly her claws around like Sung Ting Ting, he will pull out her teeth. But she was like a piece of sherry, soft and soft. You can knead and pinch her, and she will let you do as you please. If you pinch her too hard, she will even reveal a variety of fruit sandwiches. It's so disgusting. Jiang Zhao held his forehead and walked to the kitchen. He opened the glass door and looked at the woman with her long, white legs. Jiang Zhao looked at the woman who was cooking noodles. It was such a waste to cook noodles with such a seductive scene. Remembering her revenge, he spoke harshly. I didn't expect that Miss from Yin University's slender fingers would also be exposed to the sun. Yi Er was cutting scallions and ginger on the chopping board. She did not raise her head and just shrugged her shoulders. She focused on the knife. I didn't do it before, but my father got into an accident. Other than the villa with my grandmother's name on it, everything in my house was sealed. The money in my bank account is the pocket money that my father usually gives me, so I don't dare to use it carelessly. It's too expensive to eat at high-end restaurants. Si Jie would have diarrhea after eating at small restaurants outside, so I learned how to cook by myself. At first, I just had to cook it until it was cooked, but Si Jie's body was still growing. In order to let him eat more, I started to learn how to cook dishes that look, smell, and taste good. It's actually very simple. Ye even laughed out loud after she finished speaking. At this moment, Jiang Zhao had already turned around and left. When Ye heard the glass door close, she tightened her grip on the knife's handle. She looked at the green and white scallions with sparkling and translucent water droplets dripping onto them. She stroked her face with her index finger, and then put it into her mouth. Ah, so it was this bitter. Ye didn't understand many things in the past. For example, how did her father, who started from scratch, become a financial criminal? She didn't understand why after her father got into an accident, her mother left, her relatives distanced themselves from her, and her uncles became strangers to her. She didn't understand why actors had to sleep with directors. Why did models have to sleep with sponsors? She didn't understand because she wasn't even 18 years old at the time. Now she understood. Because she had spent more than 10 years of other people's lives in this 1 year. She understood that the princesses of this world should live in fairy tales. They shouldn't have to do any household chores, while the commoners should know the cruelty of reality. They should know that humans couldn't win against the heavens. The only thing that could win against the heavens was luck. If she was still the same as before, she would have thrown the kitchen knife at Jiang Zhao. Cut scallions and cook noodles? Cut your brother. Cook your sister. To Ye surprise, Jiang Zhao didn't make things difficult for her anymore. It seemed like this vicious guy really liked women who were obedient and didn't have any thorns on them. Because he seemed to have forgotten that he should glare at her a few more times and mock her more. He just went to bed and turned off the lights after taking a shower. When he kissed, he was like a real prostitute. It turned out that the kiss of a prostitute was soft and lingering, as if there was a magnet in each other's bodies. Jiang Zhao was far more gentlemanly in bed than out of bed. After he took off his clothes, the passionate and gentle collision made people feel like they had barged into a gorgeous dream created by a dream creator. Ye felt that this was a beautiful dream. The doorbell's ringing didn't seem to be in a hurry, but it started ringing again after it finally stopped. Ye really didn't want to move. She reached out to push Jiang Zhao to open the door, but when she reached out, it was empty. The spot where the person was sleeping next to her was no longer warm. She reached out to grab the clock on the bedside table. Oh my God, it was 11:30. Jiang Zhao had already gone to work. She put on Jiang Zhao's pajamas from yesterday and looked out of the peephole. She was shocked. It was Lu Cheng. Was Lu Cheng here to pick up Jiang Zhao? She didn't dare to open the door. Her phone rang, so she ran to the bedroom to get it. When she picked it up, it was a call from Lu Cheng. Ye boss asked me to bring you some clothes. Ye face was as red as a monkey's butt. When she opened the door and saw Lu Cheng, her face was still red. It was very awkward. Lu Cheng looked around cautiously and passed the shopping bags to Ye. He didn't look uncomfortable or embarrassed. Even if the person in front of him was his girlfriend's best friend, he was still able to keep a straight face. Ye I will leave first. If you need anything, just give me a call. Ye saw Lu Cheng leaving and quickly stopped him. She paused for a while and said softly, Lu Cheng, I think I should tell Ling Ling about this myself. Lu Cheng said, it's better to keep this a secret. It's better not to tell anyone. Those who know about this will not get any benefits. Ye was amazed by the mayor's secretary's quality. She closed the door and took out her clothes to change. It was an ankle-length dress made of mulberry silk. It was white and had a hem. When the wind blew, it would definitely flutter. The chest and shoulder straps were handmade. The quality of the fabric and workmanship was good. She didn't even need to look at the price tag to know it was expensive. Jiang Zhao wanted her to dress like Xiaolongnu. If she were to wear this dress outside, people would laugh at her. To match the dress, Ye even tied her hair into 2 loose braids. She looked as pure as a fairy. Lu Cheng returned to the deputy mayor's office. He had completed his task. Jiang Zhao rolled up his sleeves and frowned as he stared at the documents. When he raised his head to look at Lu Cheng, he gave him a smile that made Lu Cheng at a loss for words. Jiang Zhao gently tossed the document in his hand aside and lazily sat on the leather chair. Lu Cheng, do you know why I asked you to deliver the clothes today? Lu Cheng replied. This is because boss trusts me. Jiang Zhao laughed. Actually, I want to see if Mayor Chen's men have the guts to report my private matters to him. Lu Cheng looked at Jiang Zhao, who purposely paused for a moment. He was furious. Jiang Zhao continued. You are Zheng Ling's boyfriend. You know better than Yin Yi what happened to Yin Hongwei. He had chosen the wrong side and became the victim of the power struggle. Don't think that I don't know that you were pretending to be drunk and allowed Zheng Ling to steal the room card. You did not release those photos because you felt that Mayor Chen did not know about it. Lu Cheng knew that Jiang Zhao was a shrewd person, but he did not expect him to be so shrewd. He could not hide his panic. Boss, Actually, you are right. A good bird chooses a good tree to nest in. Mayor Chen's title does not have a deputy in front. Jiang Zhao purposely said. Lu Cheng could not take it anymore. He immediately expressed his stand. Mayor Jiang, I have always been on your side. Lu Cheng had always been close to Jiang Zhao and addressed him as boss. But this time he had to use honorifics. Jiang Zhao nodded his head in satisfaction and asked Lu Cheng to leave the office. His smile faded as he took out his phone and dialed a number. His gaze fell on the door lock that Lu Cheng had closed. The light in his eyes grew deeper and deeper. After the other side picked up, he said in a deep voice, Yichen, let's start setting up that big game of chess. Add. Xinwu 799. Chapter 475. Jiang Zhao hung up and received a call from Qin Fian. I know, but Fian, Professor Shen doesn't like people to disturb him. I know Grandpa loves his paintings. Okay, I'll take care of the painting. Okay, I'm hanging up. He leaned over and pressed the extension. Lu Cheng, check if Professor Shen from the School of Fine Arts has a class this afternoon. Yi Er went to Wudong Art Street in the afternoon to find the boy to pay for the painting. The boy looked at Yi Er's white dress that trailed behind her. Her two loose braids looked especially refreshing. He was stunned for a moment. Yi Er explained the purpose of her call, but the boy said, If you want to pay, I'll throw the painting away. Also, you can come and get it tomorrow. I didn't bring it today. The boy looked at Yi Er's helpless expression and smiled. He was smiling because she was always afraid that he would have difficulties in life, but how could his life be troubled by money? I didn't bring the painting. Take me to your school to have fun. Yi Er had taken a break from school and didn't go to university. She was envious of the university life of people her age. The boy was stunned. Where did he go to school? My school? Yi Er pointed at the entrance of the university not far away. Aren't you from the School of Fine Arts? University was really a good place to fall in love. On the benches under the shade of the trees, by the artificial lake sparkling under the sunlight, and by the winding paths leading to a secluded place, there were couples everywhere. They were around the same age, a perfect match. On the thick and soft lawn, a young man and a young woman were lying on their hands. The boy looked at the sky and suddenly wanted to know more about her. He asked softly, How old are you? Yi Er said, 19. Where did you study? I took a break in my third year of high school. The boy was silent for a while. What's your name? Yin Yi. Yin Yi. The boy murmured softly and stretched out his hand. His slender fingers were slightly translucent as if the sun had penetrated through them. He opened his palm and looked up through the gaps between his fingers. Yi Er was a white cloud in the sky. It's a very nice name. Oh, is that so? My brother always says that my name is tacky. How could that be? Look at the clouds in the sky, they're beautiful. Yi Er closed his eyes and took a deep breath of the air. It was filled with the smell of grass. That's because the clouds you see now are white clouds that are like cotton candy. Behind them is a blue sky. With the blue sky as support, it is a kind of fresh beauty. But in a few days, dark clouds will definitely cover the sky. The sky will be dark and gloomy, and the clouds will no longer be white clouds. How can it be beautiful? The boy sighed softly. Yi Er turned around and put her arm next to her ear. The boy was lying on his side in the same position as her, looking at her. Yi Er looked into the boy's eyes seriously. She gazed at the pair of clear pupils in his eyes and reached out to stroke his eyebrows. She sighed and said, "You're the prince in fairy tales. How can you sigh? You should have the most beautiful smile." The boy held his breath and asked calmly, "If I'm a prince, what are you?" Yi Er's eyes darkened. I should be a witch." The boy's heart was suddenly whipped. He frowned and asked, "You didn't go to school. What do you do for a living?" "Me?" Yi Er turned around. The warm sunlight couldn't do anything to the shade of the tree. She lay there comfortably and looked at Yi Er and the white clouds in the sky. What did she do for a living? A woman who traded her body for safety. What did she do for a living? The boy stared unblinkingly at the girl who was lying flat and no longer looking at his eyes. He saw the tears rolling down from the corners of her eyes. When he reached out, he heard her voice that seemed to be floating from the sky. It was faint and intermittent. I sold my body. Actually, at first, I wanted to rely on myself. Later, I felt that I was too naive. Haha, look at the dress I'm wearing today. It's so beautiful. It's so expensive. If I didn't buy it myself, I wouldn't bear to spend that money." The wind seemed to have stopped at this moment. He seemed to have heard the sound of tears falling into the grass. It was so loud, like glass beads hitting a thick steel plate. The shattering sound could penetrate a person's fragile eardrum. At this moment, a black Audi used by the government slowly drove into the quiet and beautiful art campus. Yi Er ran away from the lawn. She used almost all of her strength. She never knew that breaking herself for others to see was such a cruel thing. She thought that she would be able to calmly talk about it, but she couldn't persevere. She selfishly thought that she could finally expose herself in front of a pure and flawless person and pour out all the rubbish in her heart. But she really shouldn't have polluted his world. She didn't expect to bump into the black Audi. She felt like she was dreaming when Jiang Zhao asked her to get in the car. The person who was driving was Lu Cheng. He was still a high-quality secretary. He was so calm, and he directly ignored her. Jiang Zhao looked at Yi Er sitting alone by the car door. She didn't move closer to him. He patted the seat beside him and said, "Come here." Yi Er moved over and sat properly. She sat in a dignified manner, like a lady from a wealthy family. Jiang Zhao reached out and smoothed the hair on Yi Er's shoulder. Then he played with her braids in his hands. She looked pretty good dressed like this. This girl was quite malleable. When he saw her running out like that, he was shocked. When she turned to look at the car, her eyes widened in horror. She was wearing a white dress and had 2 braids. Standing there, she looked like a little white rabbit. Thinking of this, he couldn't help but soften his voice. "What are you thinking? The car on campus is driving so slowly, but you can still hit it. You're really something." Yi Er didn't care that the driver was Lu Cheng. She shamelessly burrowed into Jiang Zhao's arms. She buried her face in his chest and hugged his waist. She didn't want to explain anything to him. She hated arguing with him. "I missed you." Lu Cheng drove. He didn't look at the rearview mirror. He looked straight ahead seriously. He knew that he was the one who was suffering the most in the car. Jiang Zhao specially brought him, a spy with him. He knew the most intimate things. If it was in the past, when he had just started working with Jiang Zhao, he would definitely have other thoughts. But now, he knew Jiang Zhao's methods better than anyone else. Not only could he not mention this to anyone, he might even have to cover it up for them. If there were any rumors outside, he would be the one who would end up the most miserable. Jiang Zhao sat in the car. With others around, even if he was naked, he still had a gentlemanly demeanor. He would never touch and caress a woman in front of others as if he had never seen a woman before. Even though he really wanted to eat the rabbit in his arms. He pulled Yi Er's hand from around his waist and placed it on his lap. He patted it gently. "What do you want to eat tonight?" Yi Er sat up. She held on to Jiang Zhao's arm and leaned on his shoulder. "I still have to go to work tonight. I'll just eat something later." "What I mean is, you'll have dinner with me tonight. What do you want to eat?" Yi Er was speechless. Was she that stupid? Of course, she knew what he meant. Did she not make herself clear enough? She didn't want to have dinner with him. What I mean is, Chinese food or Western food? Jiang Zhao's voice was cold. When he tilted his head to look at Yi Er, his jaw dropped. His questioning tone was full of charisma. Yi Er glared at Jiang Zhao. This damned man. Was he trying to pull out all the thorns on her body? Did she look like she needed to be taught a lesson? She was angry and refused to listen to him. Malatang. Lu Cheng, book a private room for Taj tonight, Jiang Zhao instructed calmly. Then he looked down and fiddled with the little hand in his palm. Indian food. Yi Er sighed. She knew that Jiang Zhao was constantly reminding her not to fight with him. Otherwise, she would regret it and wouldn't even have the chance to choose again. But why should she listen to him? Was he going to use his official methods on her now? Since she couldn't fight him head-on, she would just have to act. Zhao, I don't like Indian food. Jiang Zhao pulled the back of Yi Er's hand to his lips and kissed it gently. Then he wrapped his hands around it and rubbed it gently against his chin. Yi Er almost fainted. But when she took a closer look, she saw that his eyes were full of cunning. When he looked at Yi Er and smiled, he purposely seduced Yi Er's soul, making her shiver. His tone was as if he was pampering and forgiving a young girl. He was really considerate. But I like to eat it. But don't worry. Since you like to eat malatang, I'll get someone to pack a portion for you. Even if you want to eat 10 or 100 portions, I'll get someone to send it to you. Yi Er was so angry that she was bleeding internally. She was going to eat Indian food at a high-end restaurant like Taj. And he was going to pack a portion of malatang for her? What was this? What was this? 100 portions? Was he trying to eat her to death? How could he think of this? Ah, this crazy man. Sorry to disturb you. Did you see a girl? She's very pretty. She's wearing a white dress that reaches her ankles. Her hair is tied in 2 braids and is dyed chestnut. She's so tall. Excuse me, did you see a girl running over from that side? When the boy came back to his senses, Yunyi had already been blown away by the wind. He asked and gestured to the people he met, but he didn't know if it was because he didn't express himself clearly enough, or did they really not see her before? He didn't believe that this person would just vanish from the face of the earth like that. The decoration of the high-end Indian restaurant was far more impactful than the taste of the food. It felt like they had entered a house made of gold. Everything was golden and gorgeous. Sitting at her seat, Yi Er looked at the malatang that had been packed in front of her. Then she looked at Jiang Zhao's elegant movements as he chewed and swallowed slowly. She felt that eating this meal felt like a year. Jiang Zhao acted as if he had seen Yi Er by accident and asked, "Why aren't you eating? Does this malatang not taste good? Or you can tell me the address and I'll get someone to buy it." Yi Er glared at Jiang Zhao with hidden bitterness. If she glared at him, she would get pregnant with twins. Come over here. The table was a big round table. Yi Er and Jiang Zhao were like the cowherd and the weaver girl, separated by a Milky Way. At this moment, Jiang Zhao waved at her, so she tactfully went over to him. Gigai. Jiang Zhao used the napkin in front of him to gently wipe the corners of his mouth. Before Yi Er sat down, he pulled her to sit on his lap and hugged her. He rested his chin on her shoulder and spoke as if he was coaxing a child. Today's malatang doesn't taste that good. Why don't we eat some Indian food? Yi Er bit her lip. This jerk. The man held her in his arms and put on a pair of disposable gloves. He peeled off the tender meat of the grilled prawn and fed it to her. Is it spicy? Yi Er ate with relish. No. This kind of treatment was hard to come by. She pointed at the curry crab and said, "Dip it in the curry." Jiang Zhao's movements were not affected at all as he peeled the prawn with the woman in his arms. He dipped the peeled prawn in the curry and fed it to the woman. He said slowly, "I've found a better school for your brother. If you agree, you can transfer him to another school. Since you're with me, I can't mistreat you." She was with him just like that? Was he addicted to sleeping with her? Yi Er couldn't swallow the prawn in her mouth. Jiang Zhao picked up the glass of water in front of him and fed her. He kissed her on the cheek and said, "You can't look for those old foxes who know too much about the dark side of the world for your dad. The more power they have, the more they won't interfere. I'll give you a clue. A girl who's still in her second year at the media college. Do you know what newborn calves are not afraid of tigers means? Awesome novel Shinwoo 799. Chapter 476. Yi Er didn't say anything as she digested every word Jiang Zhao said. So today's meal wasn't simple. Was he trying to help her? This was too sudden. The benefits were too great. She smiled and asked, "How should I thank you?" His thin lips curved meaningfully. He lowered his head and buried his face in Yi Er's chest, rubbing her soft breasts with his nose. He said softly and ambiguously, "What do you think?" Yi Er was puzzled. Since Jiang Zhao said that she was going to be with him, why didn't he just keep her as a mistress like other people? He should have at least said something like, "I don't want you to work at that kind of place," like Min Zikai did. He didn't do anything. At night, she changed into her waitress uniform and went to work at Peerless Beauty. Yi Er held a bottle of red wine in one hand and a cloth in the other. She carefully wiped the dust-free bottle of red wine. Her mind wandered. With more than a year of experience in society, Yi Er instinctively felt that something was wrong with Jiang Zhao helping her. Could it be that Jiang Zhao wanted to use her? Impossible. What could he use her for? Jiang Zhao received a call from old Master Qin that night, so he drove his A8 to the Qin family's old mansion. The Qin family's old mansion was a traditional Chinese courtyard house. It was divided into a front yard and a backyard. The backyard was for the guests, and the reception was in the front yard. Old Master Qin was wearing a silver gray button-down shirt. He sat on the sofa in the living room next to the main hall. His hair was already white, and even his eyebrows were slightly gray. He fanned himself from time to time, exuding a sage-like aura. The moment Jiang Zhao entered the living room, he saw Tseng Tingting holding Grandpa's arm and chatting. Grandpa wouldn't ask him to come and see Tseng Tingting, right? Grandpa didn't seem like such a boring person. Tseng Tingting still looked virtuous. When she saw Jiang Zhao, she stood up and asked the servant to make a cup of coffee for Jiang Zhao like the mistress of the house. Jiang Zhao laughed heartily. "Grandpa, it seems that I've been deeply influenced by you. I always think that tea tastes better." Tseng Tingting's snow-white face instantly flushed red. "Zhao Zhao, Tingting is just being kind." Old Master Qin tried to smooth things over. "Come and sit here. I have something to tell you." Jiang Zhao answered and sat down on the other side of Old Master Qin. Old Master Qin called a servant. "Quan, take Tingting to the garden to have a look. It's a miracle that the orchids I planted last month are alive." "Grandpa, I'll stay here to accompany you." Tseng Tingting knew that her grandpa wanted her to leave, but she didn't want to leave. She also called him Grandpa like Jiang Zhao did. "Tingting, that orchid wasn't supposed to be planted in this season, but Grandpa helped it survive. Don't you think Grandpa is amazing?" Tseng Tingting knew that she could not force him, so she could only leave resentfully. "Zhao Zhao, an old friend of Grandpa's is coming to visit tonight. He said that he wants to see you." Old Master Qin's expression froze. He looked up at the big clock on the wall and seemed to be a little depressed. "About 10 o'clock. See me. The Shi family in the south. You must have heard of it." Jiang Zhao frowned slightly. "The Shi family in the south? Grandpa's old friend? He has been in High City for more than 2 years, and Grandpa just mentioned it?" "Yes, I've heard of it. It has developed rapidly in the past 2 years. I didn't expect that he is Grandpa's old friend." "He is an old friend of both your grandpa and Ruerue's grandpa, old one. His roots are so deep. He also has a relationship with Grandpa Wen. Jiang Rue's grandpa used to be the richest family in Jiangzhou." "Yes. It's just that the 4 of us have taken different paths. I didn't tell you before because I felt that some things were too sensitive. Grandpa wanted to protect you too much and hoped that your future would be smoother." Jiang Zhao felt that the situation was serious because Grandpa would not frown from time to time even if his tone was serious. He put the blue and white porcelain teacup on the table into Grandpa's hand. "What's the sensitive thing in this?" Grandpa lifted the lid and took a sip. "My old friend's surname is not Shi. 12 years ago, he was the biggest underworld boss in Asia. You must have heard of Lei Zhentian. Although you were only 17 years old at that time, you must know who he is now." Jiang Zhao could not help but frown. Change his surname? Grandpa sighed with some regret. 12 years ago, there was a mole around him. The enemy killed the Lei family. In the end, only he and his grandson survived. He was also afraid of cutting off the bloodline of the Lei family, so he changed his surname and tried to clear his name. But even if he didn't say it, I also know that such a big underworld force can't be completely cut off. I've already used the excuse that you have something to do and rejected him many times. But Zhao Zhao, when your grandfather was young, he was also a hot-blooded and righteous man. In the past, we were friends who had gone through life and death together. We can't just refuse to see each other just because you said so. You can only grasp the propriety of this. Moreover, in the path of politics, you have to deal with different people. Yes, Grandpa, I understand. At this moment, a car horn sounded outside the mansion. After a while, the butler, Uncle Wu, walked over and said respectfully, "Old master, the guests have arrived." Jiang Zhao got up and helped Grandpa out of the living room. They stepped out of the main hall and walked on the bluestone path towards the main door. The red lacquered door of the old Chinese-style mansion opened with a creak. 3 people walked in. The old man in the lead was full of energy. On his left was a burly man in a suit who carried a few expensive gift boxes. The handsome young man on the right was particularly outstanding. He had a beautiful and fair face, a slender figure that didn't seem frail, and his eyes were clear and untainted, as if he wasn't tainted by the secular world. The leading old man walked to old Master Qin's side and patted his shoulder heroically. His voice was loud and clear. "Old Qin, you've also started to dress like this and pretend to be refined. Look at you, I've learned bad things from you. Remember to call me old Mr. Shi." Haha. Grandpa Qin was not angry. "Old Mr. Shi? You're still so rude even after learning so much. Don't tell others that I'm your teacher." Jiang Zhao and the young man stood at the side and laughed. The young man bowed politely to Grandpa Qin. "Hello, Grandpa Qin." Grandpa Qin quickly helped the young man up and looked at old man Shi. "Old Shi, this is Unwu, right?" The more he looked, the more satisfied he was. Look, this is more like what I taught." Jiang Zhao also bowed to old man Shi. "Hello, Grandpa Shi. What era are you in? You still need to be so polite. Look at Zhao Zhao. He's so handsome and manly. Unlike Unwu, he looks like a weak scholar." Old man Shi helped Jiang Zhao up. Although he said that, his hearty laughter told everyone that he was very happy. The young man looked at Jiang Zhao and nodded politely. When he smiled, the smile melted into his eyes. His eyes were clean and bright like the warm sunshine of early spring. He extended his right hand and shook it like a gentleman. "Zhao Ge, I'm Shi Unwu. Nice to meet you." Jiang Zhao shook Yunwu's hand and patted him on the shoulder. "Nice to meet you too. I'll come here often." Unwu always spoke politely and gently. "I'm just afraid I'll disturb you." "How's that possible? Let's go in." As they walked into the living room, the 2 old men bickered with each other. Old man Qin was wearing a Chinese-style jacket with buttons on the front. His trousers were also loose silk. When he walked, his footsteps were light and gentle. His scholarly aura was very strong. However, when he spoke, he did not sound scholarly at all. "Old man Shi, don't tell me that you came up with the name Unwu." Old man Shi snorted and said, "If I didn't come up with it, did you? Grace and blessings, blessings and blessings, blessings and blessings from the heavens. Have you ever studied? I'm afraid you don't understand such profound logic." Old man Qin snorted. "I've studied more books than you've eaten salt. Among us, you're the only one who doesn't study." Old man Shi asked indifferently, "Oh, then have you seen Naruto? It's very popular. Have you seen it?" Old man Qin's eyes widened. "Naruto? Fire. What is Naruto?" Pft. Jiang Zhao and Unwu looked at each other and couldn't help but laugh. Unwu raised his hand and whispered in Jiang Zhao's ear, "I'm the one who read that comic." Actually, Grandpa only saw the name on the cover and said that I didn't learn and only knew how to read children's books. Haha. Jiang Zhao shook his head and smiled. Was this really the old Lei Zhentian? It was too unbelievable. He whispered to Unwu beside him, After seeing your and my grandfather's, I'm really looking forward to the scene when Grandpa comes to Haicheng to celebrate Grandpa's birthday next month. That scene will be even better. Yinhua's eyes shone with warmth. Really? Then we'll have a good show to watch at Grandpa Qin's birthday. Sung Tingting originally thought that old man Qin had sent her away to talk to Jiang Zhao about her. She didn't know that he was meeting guests. He didn't take her seriously at all. But weren't there guests here? She thought about the purpose of her visit today. Yes, purpose. She had hired a private investigator. And he had indeed taken a photo of a woman today. That woman was the daughter of a damned economic criminal. She had gotten into his car at the Academy of Fine Arts, and even had a meal with him. She wanted to use the photo to question Jiang Zhao. Was it not because of her father that he could become the deputy mayor? What did he dislike about her? She wasn't any worse looking than Yin Yi. Jiang Zhao had almost forgotten about Sung Tingting's existence. However, when he saw Sung Tingting walking towards them like a hostess, he realized that there was actually a woman in this world who was even more thick-skinned than Yin Yi. However, this kind of thick-skin method was different. Yin Yi had never taken the initiative to jump out and annoy him. She was thick-skinned to please him. Although that kind of shameless fawning was very fake and overboard, it always revealed a kind of adorable vigor. Wasn't Sung Tingting's sense of propriety too much? She was either excessively dignified and reserved, or excessively unreasonable. Yin Yi was at most a wall on top of a wall. She would fall wherever the wind blew. Sung Tingting was a serious polarization. The gap between the rich and the poor was too big. This was a serious social problem, and it was worth paying attention to. But Feng Yu didn't want to pay attention to her. If he did, he would be looking for trouble. So he chose to ignore her. At this time, Sung Tingting felt that she was being slapped in the face in front of everyone. She was the beloved daughter of the Provincial Party Committee's secretary. Jiang Zhao had to be polite to her father. Why was he being so arrogant? Jiang Zhao, let me ask you. How long had the woman in your car been with you? Don't try to deny it. I had taken a photo, and the photo is in my bag. Don't make me ask you in front of so many people. I don't think Grandpa wants to hear her name at all. Sung Tingting stood on her tiptoes and whispered into Jiang Zhao's ear. Jiang Zhao's face turned cold. He avoided everyone's gaze and glared at Sung Tingting. When he turned to look at Unwu and Old Man Shi, his face was still full of smiles. Grandpa Shi, Unwu, I'll send you guys off first. Unwu politely declined. Grandpa Qin, Brother Zhao, I'm disturbing you guys so late. Don't send us off. Rest early. Jiang Zhao still insisted on sending the guests to the car. The driver went to the garage to pick up the car while they waited at the entrance. Unwu smiled and chatted with Old Man Qin the whole time. Sung Tingting stood beside Jiang Zhao and snorted. Who does Yin Yi think she is? I've warned you before, be careful that I don't kill her. When Jiang Zhao and Unwu heard this, they both turned to look at her. Add Songshu 566. Chapter 477. Jiang Zhao's eyes were filled with warning. He knew that Sung Tingting was deliberately putting pressure on him. Otherwise, she would complain to his grandfather. This was the reason why he didn't like her very much. Since she was young, she had never been skilled in complaining. She never knew how to be tactful. Yinhua's eyes were filled with confusion. This girl was really something. She looked gentle, but her words carried a lot of weight. Who was she going to kill? He didn't hear clearly. At this moment, the Shi family's chauffeur had already arrived at the entrance. It was a luxurious Lincoln. The butler opened the back seat door for them. The smile on Jiang Zhao's face froze when he saw the car drive out of the small road. Old Master Qin's face suddenly darkened. All of you come in. Jiang Zhao treated Sung Tingting like a big brother playing with a little sister when they were young. Ever since she started having feelings for him, Jiang Zhao would avoid her if he couldn't afford to offend her. At most, he would mock her or ignore her. This time, he was glaring at her fiercely. Sung Tingting pressed her chest, not daring to move. Jiang Zhao said in a low voice, Sung Tingting, I'm warning you. If you dare say a word in front of grandfather, I'll let you know the meaning of regret. The summer night was very quiet, especially when the housekeeper and servants saw that their sage-like old master was actually angry. No one dared to make a sound. In the main hall, Grandfather Qin sat on the main seat. Sit down and speak clearly. Seng Tingting looked carefully at Jiang Zhao, who had already sat down. She remained standing and asked softly, Grandfather, what did you say? Say what you said just now. Who were you going to kill? Seng Tingting panicked. No, Grandfather Qin said. Tingting, grandfather will be frank today. Although the Qin family started out as a business, and Zhua Hao and Jiang Zhao are both my grandchildren, grandfather has never treated them as outsiders. They are all the treasures of the Qin family. They are in the military and politics, so they can't afford to offend people. Leaving the Qin family aside, if grandfather Zhao Zhao hears what you said, I'm afraid he will have a bad impression of you for the rest of his life. Sung Tingting didn't dare to say anything else. Grandpa, I'm just saying. It's Zhao Gij who's been ignoring me, so I said that on purpose. Tingting, you've been following Zhao Zhao around and calling him brother since you were young. I've always treated you like my granddaughter. You have to know your place. You should know what you should say and what you shouldn't. If word gets out, how will Weigua deal with you? Grandpa. Sung Tingting was at a loss. Old Master Qin didn't ask her why she said that. Instead, he kept blaming her. What did he mean? Granddaughter? Wasn't she his granddaughter-in-law? From the beginning to the end, Jiang Zhao never looked at her. Even when Old Master Qin kindly called the butler to send her off, Jiang Zhao never came out to send her off. He didn't even ask her for a photo. Was he so sure that she wouldn't spread the photos? So when she was driving, she still gave him a call. Jiang Zhao, do you believe that I'll let people know tomorrow that you're with the daughter of an economic criminal? The man on the other end of the phone said disdainfully, I wonder what it's like to be a businessman. I'd like to give it a try. Then the man's voice suddenly deepened. With a hint of viciousness, he said, I can tell you her address. Don't you dare lay a finger on her. Seng Tingting, don't blame me for not telling you clearly. Since she's with me, she's mine. From now on, I'll teach you a lesson even if there's a scratch on her skin. Jiang Zhao hung up the phone and returned to the main hall. He sat down on the side seat. Old Master Qin didn't have the seriousness he had when Sung Tingting was around. He softened his tone and said, Zhao Zhao, I've always thought that you're easy to manage in our family. Unlike Fian, who only knows how to piss me off. Can't you let Grandpa stop worrying? What's the name of the daughter that Tingting mentioned just now? Grandpa didn't hear clearly. Jiang Zhao thought to himself that it was a good thing that he didn't hear clearly. Ah, Grandpa, can't you let me keep some secrets? Men need private space. Old Master Qin snorted in dissatisfaction. What if it turns out to be like Fian in private? Are you going to ask Grandpa to vomit blood? Fian will return to the right path one day. Old Master Qin sighed. He's not on the right path. He wants to play around. I'll let him be for now. At this point, his tone suddenly became heavier. He snorted and said, but in a few years, if he doesn't give birth to a son with the surname Qin, I'll strip him naked and hang him at the entrance of Haiqing's toll booth. Jiang Zhao's facial features were masculine and handsome, but at this moment, his smile was exceptionally soft. He stood up and walked behind Old Master Qin to massage his shoulders. Grandfather, I suddenly don't want Fian to return to the right path. I don't know if you mean stripping her naked. Do you mean stripping his underwear as well? You child. Ah. Old Master Qin placed his hand on the back of Jiang Zhao's hand and patted it dotingly. Zhao Zhao, Grandpa knows that you don't like Tingting's domineering personality, but she's still the daughter of the provincial party secretary, Zheng Weigua. If she goes overboard with some things, Weigua will feel that we're not giving him face. Our family doesn't need to fear anyone, but there's one point of view that I share with your grandfather. It's not good to have big grudges or small grudges. Only by doing business amicably can we make money and prosper. The next time that girl pesters you again, your attitude should be slightly better. I've made Grandpa worry. I'll take note next time. Jiang Zhao left the Qin family's old residence, his mind thinking about Zheng Tingting's words. His heart was in a mess. That girl was very dignified outside, but once she was away from everyone, she would do anything. Since there was a private investigator, would there be someone who specially followed Yan Yi? What if she was followed? No, he had to go and take a look at the peerless beauty. Yi Er didn't get to wait for Tsung Tingting's coercion. Instead, she was forcefully kissed by Min Zikai. During this period of time, Min Zikai had been sent abroad by his mother on a business trip. He ran over as soon as he got off the plane. He caught Yi Er and dragged her to the corner of the emergency exit to kiss her madly. Yi Er felt that she was too powerful. Last time when she wanted to make a deal with Min Zikai, he wanted to kiss her, so she let him. But wasn't her matter already settled by now? Moreover, Jiang Zhao seemed to be involved in her father's matter. She didn't need him anymore. Since she didn't need him, why should she let him take advantage of her? Let go of me. Yi Er almost shouted, but she was afraid that people would laugh at her, so she could only push him with all her might. Min Zikai wasn't willing to let go of her. He had missed her for so long. Hugging her in his arms, a kiss wasn't enough. He tightened his grip on her. Yi Er, although I'm not in the country during this period, I got someone to buy you an apartment. I've already settled the company matters. Your brother's matter will be settled soon. I don't need your help with my brother's matter. Yi Er had promised Mother Min that she wouldn't tell Min Zikai about their conversation, but she didn't want to explain. What do you mean you don't need my help? Yi Er, I love you. I'll treat you well in the future. I won't leave you alone again. Really? Let me take care of you in the future. I won't let you suffer anymore. As for Jiang Zhao, he got someone to ask Director Lin the moment he arrived at the Peerless Beauty. Yi Er had already gone out to deliver drinks. He came out to ask a few more people from the service department, but they all said that they didn't see Yi Er. He thought of Tsung Tingting's arrogant personality and the harsh words she said. He was anxious and unbearable. He was afraid that Tsung Tingting would act rashly and take him away, doing something irreversible. Along the way to the emergency exit, he saw a touching scene of people from the Qing dynasty hugging each other tightly and confiding in each other. There were many touching words and vows of love. I love you. I won't leave you alone again. I won't let you suffer anymore. Tui. How disgusting. They could film bitter Korean dramas. Jiang Zhao wanted to leave. After all, nothing had happened to her. The old Qing dynasty people here were like firewood burning with passion. It was normal for old feelings to rekindle. It had nothing to do with him. But when he thought about it again, why does this have nothing to do with him? This woman even slept with him last night. Just now, he was afraid that she would be killed by someone, causing him to worry for nothing. She actually dared to run to such a place where even ghosts couldn't find her to have an affair with her ex-fiancé. Did I disturb you? Jiang Zhao immediately got rid of the dark clouds on his face and put on a fake gentlemanly smile. He stood beside the wooden door and looked handsome. When Yi Er heard Jiang Zhao's voice, she panicked and almost lost her balance. Min Zikai hugged Yi Er and turned around. He was also surprised to see Jiang Zhao. How could he forget who was the one who carried his fiancée up to the 6th floor that night? Also, Yi Er had told him that they had gone on a date. Min Zikai was handsome and looked gentle. But when he looked at Jiang Zhao, there was hatred in his eyes. So, Deputy Mayor Jiang Zhao also came to this kind of place to observe the situation? Actually, other people would not call Jiang Zhao deputy, unless the mayor was in front of them. But Min Zikai purposely called him deputy. It was obvious that he was provoking him. But Jiang Zhao did not mind. He was a deputy mayor. But the most important thing was that none of the deputy mayors were younger than him. So he did not feel uncomfortable. What he was angry about now was Yin Yi, that damn woman, still dared to stay in Min Zikai's arms. Yi Er could sense the murderous look in Jiang Zhao's eyes. Although she had only met him a few times, they had been intimate before. She was good at observing people's facial expressions. How could she not know that Jiang Zhao was angry? If this young master was angry, she would be the one in trouble. Yi Er analyzed herself clearly. She had multiple personalities and multiple personalities. When she met a wolf like Jiang Zhao, she had to hold her breath and pretend to be dead to escape. When she met a boy who liked to draw, she could act like an innocent girl without any pressure. When she met Min Zikai, she could throw a tantrum and do whatever she wanted. Anyway, he would listen to her. Taking advantage of Min Zikai's distraction, she pushed him hard and jumped out of his arms. She ran past Jiang Zhao and ran. Jiang Zhao saw Min Zikai was about to chase after Yi Er, and he grabbed Min Zikai's shoulder forcefully. But there was a smile on his face. Young Master Min, I had just met Mrs. Min 2 days ago. She is very worried about you. Min Zikai's face changed. He shook off Jiang Zhao's hand and massaged his shoulders. Deputy Mayor Jiang, you don't need to worry about me. After saying that, he turned to leave. Ad Xinwu 799. Chapter 478. Jiang Zhao patted his cufflinks and said calmly, seems like I am overthinking. I wonder what Mayor Chen will do when he finds out that family Min is still messing with the Yun family? Min Zikai gritted his teeth and turned to look at Jiang Zhao. His eyes darkened as he said, are you threatening me? Jiang Zhao had been treating everyone nicely since the start of the conversation. Young Master Min, you misunderstood me. I am not threatening you. I am just reminding you. Min Zikai said, I will take care of Yi Er's matters. No one can threaten me. Jiang Zhao clapped his hands. So young Master Min is such a great person. You are even willing to abandon your family for a woman. It's fine if you are the only one suffering. But why do you want to implicate your family? It's hard to imagine what will happen if Mr. and Mrs. Min go to jail. Min Zikai could tell that Jiang Zhao was his love rival. Deputy Mayor Jiang, you are in a good mood. What does family Min and Yi Er have to do with you? You are an outsider. You are not related to family Min or Yi Er. Why do you have to worry about this? Jiang Zhao's face darkened, and his smile disappeared. Sorry to disturb you. It's such a pity that I am about to witness the downfall of a big family. Jiang Zhao left Min Zikai behind and called Zhuang Yichen. Zhuang Yichen happened to be at Zhaojun. Jiang Zhao entered the private room and sat down an arm's length away from Zhuang Yichen. He poured himself a glass of water and gulped it down. Zhuang Yichen joked. Why don't I fire Miss from Yin University, so that our mayor won't have to stay up all night waiting for someone to warm his bed? Jiang Zhao thought that it was impossible to hide this matter from Zhuang Yichen, so he said lightly, no need. Just tell her to get off work before 11 every day. Zhuang Yichen glared at Jiang Zhao. You're too oppressive. What time does the nightclub open? She gets off work before 11 o'clock. Why don't you ask me to pay her directly? It's too much for me to support your woman. Jiang Zhao snorted. My salary is too little, and you have a lot of money. It's not right if you don't help me take care of my woman. Zhuang Yichen snorted. Why don't you tell me how much you can get from the Qin Group shares every year? And what about the 2 companies that are not registered under your name? I'm a miser. I don't want to take a single cent, okay? Jiang Zhao thought back to the Shi family members he met at the Qin family's estate and sighed. I'm here because I have something I need your help with. 12 years ago, the head of Asia's underworld, Lei Zhentian, disappeared into thin air. These are the secrets of the underworld. I'm sure you'll be able to find out soon. You want me to help you take care of your woman, and you want me to help you investigate this matter. I think it's really necessary to cut ties with you. Jiang Zhao had already stood up. He took a small box from the princess bar and put a key and a community access card into the box. He glanced at Zhuang Yichen and said angrily, after cutting ties with me, you want to be with Fei Yan? You're such a fickle man. Forget it. I'll just live with you. Fei Yan's taste is too strong. I'm afraid I'm not good enough for him. Jiang Zhao laughed. Smart people understand when you think about it. There's no limit to communication. Zhuang Yichen couldn't help but laugh. You're shameless. When Yi Er received the small box from her mother, Manager Wang, she was lying on the table doing statistics. She opened the box and knew that it was sent by Jiang Zhao. Jiang Zhao likes her? At least he likes her body now. But what if one day he doesn't like her anymore? Will he still help her with her father's matter? Seeing that Manager Wang still hadn't left, Yi Er's mind turned. The best person to grasp a man's mind was a woman who had been through hardships. She put the box on the table and put on a sweet smile. She stepped forward and took Manager Wang's arm. Sister Wang, I want to ask you something. Manager Wang's eyes were sharp. Last time when Yi Er fainted after drinking, It was the mayor who personally sent her to the hospital. Just now, the higher-up said that in the future, Yi-er could get off work at 10:30. Such special treatment. There must be something strange. It was not appropriate for anyone to ask about the background. Yi-er finally expressed her goodwill. She heaved a sigh of relief. Go ahead. Yi-er looked around and asked softly, how do you make a man work for you wholeheartedly? Manager Wang was overjoyed when she heard this. She almost taught her everything. Make him fall in love with you while he is still fresh. But it's too extravagant to talk about love with a man. It's more reliable for a woman to ask for something practical while she is still young. Yi-er listened attentively. Talking about love was too extravagant, but she didn't believe it. Wang Daji had already turned the tables on the goddess, Dong Jia. She Yin-er was once a fair, rich, and beautiful woman. She couldn't possibly lose to Wang Daji, right? She must get Jiang Zhao. Today was the earliest day that Yi-er had ever gotten off work, and it would always be at 10:30 p.m. in the future. She knew that this was all arranged by Jiang Zhao. She went home and packed 2 sets of clothes, then took a taxi to the apartment in the north of the city. After taking a shower, when she got into bed, Jiang Zhao was already asleep. Yi-er tore off the towel on her body and hugged him from behind. Her chest was pressed against his broad back, and her soft little hands were on his chest. Her little mouth landed on the back of his neck, and she called out softly, "Ah Zhao." Jiang Zhao was a very vigilant person. When Yi-er came back, he was already awake. He was angry at what he saw at the exit. He wanted to leave her out for a while. But he was worried that a girl of her age wouldn't have much self-control. If he didn't interfere, she would have slept with her ex-fiancé. His heart instinctively minded that kind of messy relationship, so he asked Zhuang Yichen to get someone to send the house key to her. Even so, he couldn't change his policy of leaving her out. In the end, she pressed herself against him naked. He still wanted more of her body, so how could he stand her teasing? What's going on with Min Zikai? He tried his best to suppress the rising lust in his body and pretended to be serious as he asked. He just came back from abroad and wants to get back together with me. But aren't I with you now? I already rejected him before you came. Ah Zhao, what happened today was my fault. If I had more strength, I would definitely have been able to push him away. Yi-er reached out to turn on the bedside lamp. She hugged Jiang Zhao's neck and extended her slender arm in front of Jiang Zhao. She pouted and said pitifully, "Look, he's bruised my arm. When I was bathing just now, I was shocked. If I had gone along with him, I wouldn't have ended up in such a sorry state." Jiang Zhao frowned and turned over the woman's other arm to take a closer look. That's right, it was blue and purple. How much strength did he use? Fortunately, it was only on her arm. The mark on her chest was left by him. If he saw a fresh mark, he would really teach that stinky brat who didn't know the immensity of heaven and earth a lesson. It seemed that he had hit her quite hard in the past. But even if he could bully her, it didn't mean that others could. He then looked at the naked little bunny on the bed, pouting her lips, her eyes glistening with tears. His heart softened, and he hugged her in his arms, kissed her smooth forehead and softly coaxed her. "Be good, don't be sad. I'll avenge you." Yi-er climbed up the pole and hugged Jiang Zhao again. Her little face looked like she was holding in a lot of grievances. She said angrily, "Do you still believe me?" The man dimmed the bedside lamp again. He moved his mouth closer to the woman's ear and said in a low and hoarse voice, "I really want to find a school for your little brother to go to once a month." Yi-er thought to herself, "My little brother, you bastard." But she didn't dare to say it out loud. Her voice was still soft. "I'll get off work early from next week onwards. I'll come over whenever you miss me, okay?" "Okay." When he squeezed in, Yi-er suddenly took a deep breath. "Ah Zhao, gentler. Don't." "Gentler." The man's forehead was covered in sweat. He squeezed the woman's waist forcefully to relieve the pain caused by slowing down. What a little vixen. The next day, Yi-er woke up early in the morning. Jiang Zhao had just washed up and came out of the bathroom when he saw Yi-er putting on her bra. He walked behind her and buttoned it for her. "Why didn't you sleep in a little longer?" Yi Er turned around and put her hand on Jiang Zhao's shoulder. I have to go to the media college early to look for the Xia Qian you mentioned. I have to pick up my brother in the afternoon. Jiang Zhao helped Yi Er adjust her shoulder straps. Leaning on the seductive bra, he forced himself to look away and looked at Yi Er's face. If you manage to get a date with Xia Qian, you'll be able to get her sister, Qiu Xiaoya, on your side. Although Qiu Xiaoya isn't Xia Qian's biological sister, she's a sister you really dote on. Qiu Xiaoya? One of the top 10 beauties? Yi Er looked at Jiang Zhao's shirt, cuffs and buttons. Then she thought about the pile of custom-made clothes in his wardrobe. Oh right, the logo was a faint YA. Almost all the celebrities in Haiqing had custom-made clothes. She didn't know who started this trend. A large portion of Jiang Zhao's wardrobe was made by Qiu Xiaoya. How were they related? Was he that woman's crazy fan? Could it be another woman of his? Damn pervert. A certain girl felt a little uncomfortable. Her little mouth twitched, and she looked unhappy. Why did you pull her in? Xia Qian wants to be an outstanding and righteous media person. Qiu Xiaoya isn't a lawyer. Don't tell me you're going to ask her for custom-made clothes to give to someone else? Jiang Zhao couldn't guess what the little girl was thinking. He only felt that this girl was too stupid. He reached out and flicked Yi Er's forehead. Idiot. Pulling Qiu Xiaoya in is naturally to protect you. Yi Er shrank back in pain. She rubbed the space between her eyebrows and said unwillingly, she's just a designer. How can she be so capable? Jiang Zhao looked at Yi Er, who was only in her underwear, nestled in his arms. His body heated up. It was early in the morning, and he still had to go to work. He felt annoyed. He reached out and picked up the t-shirt that Yi Er had thrown on the bed to wear. He foolishly put it on for her. Yi Er pulled it over and put it on herself. She heard Jiang Zhao's analysis. She's a 25-year-old woman. Although she graduated from a professional school, she only graduated 3 years ago. She only went abroad occasionally and didn't get a design degree overseas. She slowly went from an unknown person to appearing on various shows and winning all sorts of awards. She's so young, but she already has her own custom-made clothes. Her family background is average. Do you really think she climbed to where she is today with her own efforts? That's a lie for an exclusive interview. Anyway, if you drag her in, the person behind her won't sit idly by. If he doesn't want to hurt Qiu Xiaoya, he'll naturally take you into consideration. Otherwise, there are media people everywhere who want to create explosive news. Why would I pick Xia Qian for you? Welfare Songshu 566. Chapter 479. Yi Er immediately dismissed the idea that Qiu Xiaoya was Jiang Zhao's woman. Although she knew that Jiang Zhao was right, she couldn't help but feel a little disappointed. Why couldn't the man behind her just sit back and do nothing? He was also in the same bed as her. Why could he control the situation calmly from the side and not stand up to help her? Why did he want her to go around asking others for help? At first, she just wanted him to be by her side to give her pointers, so that she wouldn't go off on the wrong path again. Now, she felt more and more that she needed a man by her side. Their way of thinking was exceptionally rational. She was clearly at a loss, but when the man gave her pointers, she would be enlightened, even though she had already received the benefits she deserved. But now she was starting to feel unsatisfied. Yi Er and Xia Qian's first meeting was quite pleasant. According to Jiang Zhao, she provided Xia Qian with several newsworthy events. Xia Qian was very grateful to her. After dating for more than a month, the two of them often met. Xia Qian, with her pear flower permed hair, looked beautiful and pure, but she couldn't speak. If she did, her true nature would be exposed. Perhaps they were all young children and could play together easily. Zheng Ling was too precocious and would consider many things. She felt completely different from Xia Qian. Yi Er felt that if she was the cloud in the sky, then Xia Qian was the rising sun in the summer. She was full of vitality and gave people the feeling that it was almost noon and she was going to explode. She was full of passion for life and hope for the future. Her positive attitude towards life infected Yi Er all the time. When Xia Qian told Yi Er that she wanted to go to a nightclub to experience life, Yi Er was stunned. Xia Qian told Yi Er again that she wanted to go to a nightclub to experience the life of a rich woman and a gigolo. When Yi Er heard that, she was dumbfounded. She didn't have any experience, but she was a loyal person. So she said, "I'll invite you tomorrow after I get my salary, okay?" If she wanted to invite her friend to a gigolo, the PR fee had to be paid to Jiang Zhao at night. But it would be too embarrassing to say this in public. Xia Qian said confidently, "Why would I need you to treat me? My sister has a lot of money. She's definitely more familiar with those places than we are. I'll call her later and ask her to take us there." Yi Er finally knew that Jiang Zhao did not lie to her. Her younger sister wanted to experience being a male prostitute, and as her older sister, she readily agreed. This was not pampering, this was simply spoiling. At night, Yi Er officially asked for leave, but he didn't dare to go to Peerless Beauty. Most importantly, he was afraid that Jiang Zhao would find out that Peerless Beauty was his base. Night fell, and neon lights rose into the sky. When Yi Er saw the real-life version of Qiu Xiaoya, he suddenly felt that he and Xia Qian were too rural. Although his clothes were a little old, they were still high-end brands. Big-name items wouldn't go out of style so easily. It wouldn't be a problem for him to wear the clothes he bought a year or two ago. Needless to say, the mint green dress she wore today was elegant and classy. Jiang Zhao was a generous man. He always gave her clothes, and they were all branded goods that were dignified and appropriate. But was Qiu Xiaoya out to kill her and Xia Qian, these two idiots? Shouldn't a gigolo be more low-key? Did she have to dress like a celebrity who was going to walk the red carpet at Nausicaa's Golden Girls? She held a shiny silver handbag and wore a small black dress with a bare back. It was definitely a high-end 3D cut. Her short black hair was 2 centimeters below her ears, revealing her beautiful swan neck. The dress revealed her slender legs, and the black heels that were at least 10 centimeters tall brought out the aura of a queen. This woman was so beautiful that there was a kind of seduction in her bones, but this seduction was not frivolous at all. Because Yi Er was Xia Qian's friend, Xiaoya was especially affectionate with her. Xia Qian went up and held Xiaoya's arm. She reached out and touched the smooth, snow-white beauty's back. She joked, "Sis, aren't you afraid that a man will come over and ask you how much you're dressed like this?" Xiaoya rolled her eyes at Xia Qian and gave her a look that said, "What a joke! If I give him a price, he'll choke to death. Can he afford it?" Yi Er couldn't help but laugh. "Sis Xiaoya, what if he says, 'Beauty, you can name any price you want'?" Xiaoya bent down sneakily and hugged the two children's shoulders. She huddled together and whispered, "Then I'll see if he's handsome or not. Then I'll ask him, 'Handsome, how much are you for a night? Name your price. Don't be afraid, I'll be very gentle with you.'" Although Yi Er had been with Jiang Zhao for a long time, she still couldn't help but blush when she heard such bold words. But Xia Qian could actually laugh so shamelessly. Xia Qian had told her that she didn't have a boyfriend, and that she still had her first kiss. Could this be the legendary Fujoshi? Alright, with a sister like this, she must have been a Fujoshi. At the elevator entrance of the high-end entertainment club, the men waiting for the elevator all had their eyes on the 3 women. They were pure, elegant, and sexy. They were much prettier than the women in the club. Yi Er felt uncomfortable with so many eyes on her. She turned to glare at the perverted fatty beside her and spat fiercely. "What are you looking at? I'm here to spend money." The man instantly felt awkward. Xiaoya couldn't help but laugh. She clenched her fist and punched Yi Er's chest. "I admire bold women like you. You should be like this." Haha. Yi Er glared at Xiaoya bitterly. She covered her chest and muttered, "If you hit me, my future husband will definitely fight it out with you. You're so annoying." Xiaoya reached out to rub Yi Er's chest. "Find a handsome guy to rub it back for you tonight." Yi Er slapped Xiaoya's hand away. She pretended to be angry and shouted, "Get lost." Yi Er looked at Xiaoya. She suddenly wanted to know what kind of powerful man was behind her for her to be able to live so freely. The group entered the elevator. A black Lincoln slowly drove into the car park outside the club. The driver parked the car. He tilted his head slightly and said respectfully, "Young master, we're here." Unwoo sat in the back seat. He glanced out the window with a cold gaze. Okay. He then asked, have you informed everyone? The man in a black suit sitting in the front passenger seat nodded. Young master, we've already informed everyone. Miss has all arrived at the club early today. We'll go to the lounge now. They probably haven't gone to work yet. Unwoo sighed. Okay. Let's go in first. For the past month, he had been painting and waiting for people at Wudong Street during the day. At night, he spent almost all his time at various nightclubs. How good would it be to be like before? He didn't care about anyone and everything. He didn't allow his emotions to fluctuate, and he didn't ask about other people's jobs without thinking. What was the point of asking? She was suffering and he was suffering too. Azong had asked him several times who he was looking for, whether he had a name, a photo, or a portrait. He would help him look. He wouldn't tell anyone where the person he was looking for appeared, what her name was, or her portrait. That was his private collection. No matter what she did, he didn't mind, but it didn't mean that others didn't mind. She minded too. Otherwise, she wouldn't have gone looking for him for so long. In the past, she would go looking for him every few days. It was because he knew about her unbearable past that she didn't want her painting anymore. She threw him away just like that and never appeared again. Every time he arrived at the club, he would go in to look for her himself. He wouldn't let anyone follow him. He wouldn't let anyone around him watch her leave the lounge of such a place. It looked like a high-end club, but Mrs. Lounge wasn't comfortable at all. It was a big room, and the decorations were minimal. There were benches for resting, and the glamorous figures shuttling between luxury rooms didn't exist here. All kinds of women sat in indecent positions. There was no such thing as the most lewd jokes, only more lewd. Occasionally, she would be impulsive and curse a few times. Unwoo had stood at such a door countless times. He always reminded himself that perhaps this was the last time. He would definitely find her. Yunwoo's arrival undoubtedly made the women in the club jump. Where did this handsome young master come from? He was fair, beautiful, and bold. The pretty women wanted to test the waters. However, before their slender hands could touch the quiet and beautiful boy, they were stared back by his eyes. The women were shocked. They thought it was an illusion. How could it be? The boy who had been standing at the door and walking slowly between them seemed to have been possessed by a demon. His eyes were as pure as water, and he looked elegant and refined. But all of a sudden, there was a murderous aura around him. The women slowly retracted their hands. Their expressions were a little embarrassed, but they didn't dare to look at the boy anymore. This was the first time Yi-Er sat on the sofa like an empress. She crossed her legs and held a glass of wine to choose handsome men. Her father used to dote on her, but he would never let her come out to play like this. Later on, when she worked at the nightclub, she was only a waitress. The difference between them was like heaven and earth. But to be honest, although the men in front of her were good-looking and tall, she felt that something was missing. Compared to Jiang Zhao, they weren't handsome enough. They didn't have a strong presence. They didn't have an air of nobility, not to mention their masculinity. In short, the difference was huge. Xia Qian sat between Yi-Er and Xiaoya. Xiaoya said to Xia Qian, Qian, after this experience, what do you want to write about? Sis, I changed my mind last minute. I want to write a headline for tomorrow's news. What headline? Yi-Er tilted her head and asked. Xia Qian snapped her fingers in front of Yi-Er and glanced at Xiaoya. Top 10 beauty designer Qiu Xiaoya went to a nightclub to have fun. She got lost and didn't know how to return. Xiaoya was excited when she heard this. Her queenly demeanor was gone. She was only a little mischievous. Qian, did you bring a camera? If you want to make the headlines, take a beautiful picture of me. Wait until I find a handsome man. Yi-Er looked up at the sky. Oh my God, why didn't she get to know these two beauties earlier? Then she wouldn't have to care so much about her reputation in the past. Jiang Zhao was driving when he received a call from Zhuang Yichen. He answered the car phone and Zhuang Yichen's voice echoed in the car. Brother Zhao, I didn't expect you to use such a method to trick me. Jiang Zhao rested his palms on the steering wheel and tapped his fingers on it. Haha, Yichen, this is also a requirement of the game of chess. Zhuang Yichen's voice sounded like he couldn't hide his laughter. Although I don't know how you found out about Qiu Xiaoya. There's something you might not know. Her relationship with me has expired. She's now with her first love, Kang Yi-yoon. I called to provoke you. Chiu Xiaoya is now leading her sister and Yun Yi to Golden Dynasty to find male prostitutes. She's almost done drinking. Beauty novel Shinwoo 799. Chapter 480. Jiang Zhao tightened his grip on the steering wheel as he listened to Zhuang Yichen continue to speak leisurely. Chiu Xiaoyao is careless and doesn't take anything seriously, especially money. For the sake of having fun with her sisters, she spends a little more money and finds a few more men to give to her friends. Everything will definitely go smoothly. Jiang Zhao stopped the car on the side of the road, pressed the 2 jump lights and stared at the car phone. After a few seconds of calming down, he said faintly, "Then let them have fun today. Yun Yi only needs to find someone who dares to poke the hornet's nest. Since it's a game of chess, of course, we can't destroy the chess pieces at will." Zhuang Yichen said coldly and quickly, "Goodbye." Then he hung up the phone. Jiang Zhao looked at the streetlights in front of him and raised his hand to press between his eyebrows. He grabbed the phone and dialed Yi Er's number. "The number you have dialed is not in the service area. Please wait. Yun Yi, or you really don't know the difference between life and death." As soon as he stepped on the accelerator, he immediately stepped on the brake. No, he couldn't panic. He didn't believe that Zhuang Yichen called him today just to provoke him. Zhuang Yichen wanted him to go to Golden Dynasty and get her out, didn't he? Reap the benefits without doing anything? Chiu Xiaoya and Zhuang Yichen had been secretly dating for 3 years. Zhuang Yichen had never mentioned it to the outside world. They had never even spoken in public. Zhuang Yichen had always been cautious. He never let the enemy catch his weakness, even if it wasn't a weakness. However, Zhuang Yichen had never mentioned Chiu Xiaoya to him, just as he would never take the initiative to mention Yi Er to anyone. Although he and Zhuang Yichen were buddies, he had helped Zhuang Yichen a lot, and Zhuang Yichen had also helped him clear a lot of obstacles. It could be said that they treated each other with sincerity, but when it came to benefits, they were very clear about it. Neither of them was willing to leave an opening for the other. Their cooperation had always been mutually beneficial. Zhuang Yichen had always been ruthless and merciless. If he wanted to use Yin Hongwei's matter to topple the Zhuang family, he was afraid that Yi Er would be implicated. When the time came, he would not be able to bear the consequences. He could ignore the others, but he could not bear to do that to Yi Er. It was not easy to get hold of Chiu Xiaoya. Zhuang Yichen would think twice before making a move, and he could also protect Yi Er. However, today's blunder made him uneasy. Jiang Zhao could not get through to Yi Er's phone, and there was no news from Zhuang Yichen. He felt that he could not sit still any longer. He went to Peerless Beauty, because no one knew that the boss behind the scenes was Zhuang Yichen. They also did not know that the deputy mayor and Zhuang Yichen were secretly in contact. The private room was directly connected to the garage, and it was very secretive of their relationship. But even at such a luxurious place, he had never ordered a woman to sit at the bar, including Zhuang Yichen. He was the boss of that place, and he had never ordered a woman to sit at the bar. Zhuang Yichen knew that Chiu Yelan had applied for leave today, and he thought that Chiu Yelan would go to Qingbei condominium earlier to accompany him. This damn woman. If she dared to fool around with other men behind his back, he would skin her alive. But Chiu Yelan was only 19 years old. How could she resist the temptation of the outside world? Chiu Yelan was still young, and she was curious about everything. She was F***king looking for trouble for him all day long. Jiang Zhao's handsome face was gloomy. He gritted his teeth and stepped on the accelerator again. Unwoo came out of Mrs. Lounge at Golden Dynasty. He could only feel disappointed again. He had also asked Mrs. Mother, but no one had started the audition yet. He had also received a notice last night that Miss did not have to pay the audition fee today. Today was the day when everyone was present. With both hands in his pockets, Unwoo sighed habitually. His bodyguard, Azong, hurried over. "Young master, how is it?" Unwoo said calmly, "It's fine. How many entertainment venues have we not been to in Haicheng? In the past month, we have been to hotels, discos, slow bars, small bars, clubs and nightclubs. There are about 4 or 5 of them. Do you want to take a look at the brothels in the suburbs? Unwoo felt that his patience had been worn down bit by bit over the past month. If he continued to wear it down, it would be completely broken. He lowered his head, closed his eyes, and raised his hand to rub his temples. After visiting these 4 or 5 places, we will go to the suburbs. Ah Zong said worriedly. Young master, if old master sends people to look for us, it will be much faster. Do you want to? Unwoo immediately interrupted. His temper was still as good as before. Ah Zong, you just need to be responsible for my safety according to Grandpa's instructions. You don't have to report anything else to him. Go back. Grandpa will ask about our whereabouts again in a while. Yi Er felt that she was not even as good as Xia Qian. The handsome man taught Xia Qian how to play dice step by step. They were very open about punishment. Xiaoya was even bolder. She sat on the handsome man's lap, and the two of them drank wine. It was too embarrassing for her to sit in such a place like a virgin. Although she disliked the cowherd for being dirty, she did not have to make it so obvious. It was not easy for him to earn some money, was it not? Yi Er used to frequent bars. Dancing, dice, and drinking were not a problem for her. Soon the atmosphere became lively. When they were done, Yi Er danced happily with the cowherd. She was a little drunk. The cowherd was very professional. He was afraid that she would fall. Not only did he hold her hand, but he also hugged her waist. The guests were having a great time, but no one knew that there was a hidden camera installed in their private room. Jiang Zhao did not know about it at first. It was only when Zhuang Yichen's peerless beauty started to play that he realized that these bosses were too unscrupulous. Zhuang Yichen looked at the surveillance screen. His cold and handsome face did not change. However, his tone towards Jiang Zhao was not as friendly as before. He did not even use the words "Brother Zhao." Call someone to close down this place. I will take care of the rest. Jiang Zhao was not in the mood to care about this. What about the rest? He would probably have to chop off the hands of those cowherds. He was too lazy to care. Chop off hands. Drag them out and feed them to the dogs. Golden Dynasty was suddenly reported to have people playing karaoke, powders, pills, and other prohibited products. The door of the private room was opened. The police came in and took away the cowherds. Only 3 women and a police officer were left in the room. Xiaoya was the calmest. Xia Qian had never been caught playing outside. It was inevitable that she was nervous. Yi Er was afraid of what would happen if Jiang Zhao found out about this. Xiaoya stood up and walked in front of the police officer. She saluted him playfully and said in a soft voice, "Uncle Police, do you want us to go with you? If not, we will leave first. Is that okay?" When Yi Er saw that Xiaoya had taken the lead, she gave Xia Qian a look. The 2 girls also walked in front of the police officer. Bang! They stamped their feet and saluted him. They said in unison, "Hello, Uncle Police." The police officer was obviously trained. It was useless to act coquettishly. You can't leave. After that, no matter how Yi Er and the girls served tea, the police officer did not even look at them. He simply went outside and locked them inside. After at least an hour, it seemed that the police had left. There was no movement outside. The 3 of them were just about to leave when the door opened again. The person leading the way was Jiang Zhao. The person who came in a little later was Zhuang Yichen. Both men did not look happy. Yi Er thought to herself, "Oh no, does Jiang Zhao have a washboard in his house?" But when Jiang Zhao came in, he did not walk towards her. Instead, he walked towards Xiaoya. He stood still and said coldly, "Miss Chiu is considered a big sister here. Shouldn't you be a good role model for the kids? Are you trying to learn bad things from your sister?" Xiaoya bowed to Jiang Zhao and stood up straight. She smoothed her short hair and said with a smile, "Thank you, Mayor, for your advice." In front of Yi Er was Zhuang Yichen's tall figure. He looked at her coldly and said, "You are so young and you already know how to be bad. I wonder what you will become when you grow up." Yi Er sighed. Why was this man at odds with her? If he did not want to kill her, he would scold her. She straightened her back and raised her chin proudly. "I have already grown up. I am 19 years old." The luckiest one was Xiaqian. No one cared about her. Yi felt strange. Why did Jiang Zhao not scold Sister Xiaoya? Even if he wanted to scold her, he should be scolding the main culprit, Xiaqian. Why did Zhuang Yichen and Jiang Zhao not know their priorities? Yi avoided everyone's gaze. When she got into Jiang Zhao's car, her beautiful eyes were smiling as she called out sweetly, "Ah Zhao." Jiang Zhao started the car and warned himself not to do anything rash outside. "Yinyi, you are very bold now." No, Xiaqian insisted on experiencing life. Jiang Zhao had a faint smile on his face, but there was no trace of a smile in his eyes. "Shirk responsibility? You are getting better." Yi looked at Jiang Zhao and became even more afraid. "It's really not that. I am not lying to you. Didn't you ask me to find a way to get to know Sister Xiaoya? I went with them for the sake of PR." Jiang Zhao suddenly turned the steering wheel and pulled the car to the side. He stepped on the brakes so hard that Yi almost hit her forehead. Jiang Zhao's voice became louder. "I asked you to get to know Xiaoya. Did I ask you to learn how to be a gigolo?" Yi could not care less. She buried herself in Jiang Zhao's arms and refused to come out. Okay. Go ahead and scold me. I know I am going to die today. Just scold me to your heart's content. I am already very grateful that you didn't scold me there just now." Jiang Zhao felt that it was too difficult to communicate with this woman. He reached out and held her face in his palm. He pinched and lifted her head, forcing her to look straight into his eyes. Yi looked at him and couldn't help but tremble. He was like this when he was extremely angry. His eyes were filled with viciousness and coldness, and his facial features were especially stiff. Looking at him, his lips were opened and closed in anger. "Scolding you in front of outsiders? Then everyone will come and see how pathetic you are after I scolded you? Everyone will laugh at you? Am I crazy? Isn't humiliating my own woman the same as slapping my own face? Do you think I haven't been humiliated enough?" Yi's heart suddenly jumped. What did he say? In front of outsiders? His woman? Wasn't she an outsider? Come and see. Xinwu 799. Chapter 481. She lowered her chin and her lips landed on his palm. She kissed him gently, her soft tongue licking his cleavage. Then she held his hand and placed it on her face. She said softly, "Ah Zhao, I really didn't do it on purpose. I didn't go overboard, I just danced a little. At first, I didn't like him. He's not as handsome as you. And he's not as manly as you. We're not on the same level. At that time, I saw that Sister Xiaoya and the others were having so much fun, and felt that it wasn't easy for them to earn some money. I was afraid that they would think too much, so I did a good deed. I'm still young, and I've never played this kind of game before. Just treat it as my first offense. Don't blame me. A great man doesn't hold a grudge against a petty person. Forgive me, okay? I promise you, there won't be a next time." Yi only knew that Jiang Zhao liked docile girls. In any case, whenever there was a slight dissatisfaction or annoyance, she would use this kind of coquettish method to please him. Usually, she would be able to get away with it. It was just that she had to put in more effort to please him in bed. The small mouth in his palm kissed him, as if a small pet was licking his palm gently. It was wet and itchy. It was so numb that his pores stood up and his back stiffened. His big and small brains were filled with charming and gentle scenes. His rationality was about to collapse in this car. Sometimes when he thought about it, it was better to do business openly. If someone took a picture of him having sex in the car, then so be it. It didn't matter. It seemed like the saying that if one were to die under a peony, one would still be a romantic ghost. Fortunately, his self-control was strong enough. Otherwise, he would definitely tear off the layer under her skirt, pull her over and press her down on his body, and push her hips back and forth. He started the car and pretended to be calm. "Don't think that this matter is over. I know it doesn't count. When we get back, you can punish me however you want tonight, okay? You're the one who said it." Yi thought that this matter was finally over. She nodded like a chick pecking at rice. Yes, I promise I won't go back on my words." When they got home, Jiang Zhao calmed down from the wind. The moment they entered the house, he threw Yi into the bathroom to take a shower. The dress that she had worn out that night was thrown into the trash can. Yi Er's heart ached. Although she had a lot of new clothes now and they were all bought by Jiang Zhao, she still couldn't bear to part with them. After that, Jiang Zhao flipped Yi Er over so that his back was facing him. "You can't stay idle if you don't cause trouble for me." Yi Er felt that her ears weren't working too well. Jiang Zhao's tone sounded like he was reprimanding her, but it also sounded like he was doting on her. Feeling the numbing kiss on her back, Yi Er couldn't help but gasp. "And sorry." Jiang Zhao only hated when this woman would learn more. She was much more experienced than her peers, but once she fell into the hands of a scheming person, she was like a little white rabbit, waiting to be slaughtered. At that time, he was afraid that she would talk too much because she was young, so he didn't tell her about the relationship between Qiu Xiaoye and Zhuang Yichen. He didn't expect that this relationship would still be exposed. What if Zhuang Yichen warned Qiu Xiaoye not to let them interact with each other? If he didn't drag Xiaqian into this and Qiu Xiaoye wasn't involved in Xiaqian's matter, would Zhuang Yichen sacrifice Yi Er as well? But with Zhuang Yichen's suspicious personality, it seemed like he wouldn't tell anyone about himself. If he told Qiu Xiaoye to be wary of Yi Er, then it would be obvious that he was telling Qiu Xiaoye something obscure. Qiu Xiaoye had been with him for so many years, so it would be easier for her to understand him. Yi Er suddenly remembered something. She flipped over and sat up. She looked at Jiang Zhao in surprise. "Sister Xiaoye is Zhuang Yichen's woman?" Jiang Zhao pulled Yi Er into his arms again. "You're not too stupid," Yi Er said. Oh. No wonder Jiang Zhao and Zhuang Yichen were so similar. Did they feel that it was embarrassing to scold their own woman in front of outsiders? Did they think that scolding someone else's woman was enough to vent their anger? What a freak. But she could say that Zhuang Yichen was a freak, but she didn't dare to say that this man was a freak, because she couldn't afford to be hurt. "I was wondering what I did to offend him. Did he think that I was the one who took Sister Xiaoye to fool around? I feel so wronged. Xia Qian was the one who suggested this. She said that she wanted to experience life, so that she could have a deeper understanding of society." Jiang Zhao curled his finger and knocked Yi Er on the head. Seeing Yi Er frowning, he rubbed her head. "Anyway, no matter who's right or wrong, you should reflect on yourself. But don't mention anything about them to anyone. It seems like Xia Qian doesn't know either. From now on, you must learn to stuff everything you see or hear into your stomach. Otherwise, Zhuang Yichen might find a chance to kill you in the future since he didn't kill you last time." Yi Er hurriedly covered her mouth and pretended to be frightened as she burrowed into Jiang Zhao's arms. She knew that Jiang Zhao would never let Zhuang Yichen do that. She also knew that Jiang Zhao liked her to be this way. He liked her to be a little weak, a little stupid, and a little innocent. So she had been acting the way he liked. She had to get him. Her goal wasn't just to get her brother. She also wanted her father to be released from prison safely. So if she wanted him to continue caring about her matters, she couldn't let him lose interest in her. "Ah Zhao, you like me, don't you?" Yi Er had been waiting for the man's deep and mellow voice, but all she heard was even breathing beside her ear. But this kind of breathing, in her ears, meant that he didn't want to answer her stupid question, and chose to pretend to be asleep, leaving her with a way out. To Jiang Zhao, he liked a life with rules and regulations, and it was best if these rules and regulations were set by him. Even if he didn't set them, he would use his own methods and abilities to achieve a tacit understanding. His philosophy had always been that only the strong could work with him. For example, Zhuang Yichen had a strong background and abilities, and he was calm and wise. When working with someone like that, he could get twice the results with half the effort and wouldn't lower his own standards. But when it came to women, he liked gentle, pleasant, generous, and decent women. That way he could lower his guard and feel more relaxed when interacting with them. His original intention wasn't to remove all of Yi Er's thorns. It was just that in the beginning, because of her stubbornness, he had conquered her out of revenge and suppressed her perverse personality. But Yi Er was someone who knew how to survive. In different environments, she could always find a way to live that suited her. Jiang Zhao felt that Yi Er was very sensible. Sometimes this kind of precociousness made people feel bad. He always wondered if he should treat her a little better. She was still so young, but she followed him like this. Yi Er was woken up in the middle of the night by the tossing and turning. Her instincts told her that Jiang Zhao was awake again, and was definitely going to do something big with her. In her days, she just habitually catered to him. Her 2 legs wrapped around his waist, and with her eyes closed, she hooked her arms around his neck. Then, she raised her head to find his mouth to kiss. Slap. Her butt was slapped so hard that even Zhou Gong was scared away. She opened her eyes wide and looked at Jiang Zhaojing, who was lying on top of her. What was going on? He didn't strip her naked like before. Instead, he wore a shirt around her neck. Little fox, I say, you haven't reached the age of a wolf yet. Why are you so thirsty? Jiang Zhao lifted Yi Er's arm and stuffed it into his sleeve. He smiled mischievously. Little fox, do you want it again? Yi Er was stunned. Just as she was about to speak, her other arm was stuffed into her other sleeve. He pulled her shirt down and said, Why are you so addicted now? How did you spend Friday to Sunday? Yi Er buried her face in the blanket. She was so ashamed that she thought Jiang Zhao wasn't satisfied when he helped her put on her clothes. What are you talking about? I thought you were. Jiang Zhao pulled Yi Er out. What about me? It's not that I want to criticize you, Yin Yi. But you're really the best when you're sleeping. It's fine if it's summer, but the weather is getting colder now. Don't you feel cold with your hands outside every day? Yi Er thought for a moment. Sometimes I dream that it's snowing and it's a little cold. I just can't find a place to hide. He pulled her into his arms again. It's impossible for you to change this habit. Remember to wear long sleeves when you sleep at night. I got someone to buy you a few. You can bring 2 back this week. Why are you so good to me? I've said it before. I can't mistreat you when you're with me. There are many things that I can't think of that you can mention to me. Anything is fine. Jiang Zhao felt that it was quite dangerous to be with Yi Er like this. He wasn't a stingy man. He would give whatever he could to a woman who had a physical relationship with him. But Yi Er never took the initiative to ask for it. When he bought clothes for her, she would wear them. When he gave her jewelry, she would accept it. He thought that she would at least ask not to work at Peerless Beauty, or go to college while she was still young. Or she would ask for a house or a car. He could satisfy all of her requests. The more she didn't want these materialistic things, the more he felt that she was ambitious. For example, some of her ambitions were outside of his normal rules. What if I want Dad to be released from prison as soon as possible? Jiang Zhao smiled. Indeed. She was a woman who knew how to endure. She didn't want it, but it didn't mean that she didn't need it. It was just that the things she needed couldn't be given just because he said so. What if I say that I won't save your dad for you? Yi Er's heart sank. She asked. Then why would you save my dad? Jiang Zhao's gaze also darkened. He paused. For myself. Zhuang Yichen was doing it for himself. He was also doing it for himself. Yi Er was with him for herself. Every one of them was doing it for himself. However, he didn't want to say it out loud, but he couldn't seem to find any other words to replace it. Yi Er was silent for a moment. Then she asked calmly, Then what do you need me to do for you? Jiang Zhao frowned slightly. His hand, which was holding the back of the woman's head, froze slightly. Then, just like Yi Er, he said calmly, I need you to tie Xiaqian, Qiu and Xiaoya to your side. That way, you can keep Zhuang Yichen in check. This was the only way that Zhuang Yichen wouldn't hurt her. Yi Er turned around. With her back facing Jiang Zhao, she gently exhaled the air in her chest. She didn't dare to make a sound. She didn't want him to hear her emotions. No wonder he took a liking to her and gave her pointers. It was because she was also a pawn in his game. Everything was so coincidental. Perhaps her father's incident happened to be part of his game, and was the key to bringing down the other party. She really wanted to say that it was fate. To hell with fate. No wonder he wanted to get to know Xiaqian and Xiaoya. Xiaqian worked in the media and was a child. She was impulsive and didn't consider the big picture when she did things. She only knew how to uphold justice and could cause a lot of trouble. Welfare Songshu 566 Chapter 482. If Qiu Xiaoya was wrapped in it, Zhuang Yichen would protect her because Qiu Xiaoya spoiled her sister. He Jiang Zhao would be able to treat everyone as cannon fodder and fight in the vanguard. He would be able to sit back and reap the benefits of the battle. Zhuang Yichen's weakness was Qiu Xiaoya, so he had her under his control. Yi Er cursed Jiang Zhao in her heart. One day, he would meet his nemesis. She would let him have a taste of being a cannon fodder. She never thought that Jiang Zhao was a kind person. Therefore, it was reasonable for him to play politics. What's more, he was born in the political field. If he didn't know how to play politics, wouldn't he die? However, it turned out that the person who was on the blind date was so utilitarian. When he exposed everything, he felt so uncomfortable. Yi Er turned around, hugged the man, and kissed him hard. Then, she took off the clothes that he had put on for her, and threw it off the bed fiercely. Yi Er looked at the man and hugged him. After this, Yi Er watched Jiang Zhao go into the bathroom and fall asleep. She said in her heart that if Jiang Zhao dared to ask her to take a shower, she would bite him to death. She would bite him so hard that he would never be reincarnated. She didn't wait for the man's urging. In the morning, Jiang Zhao was woken up by the phone. It was his cousin Yi Er. Seeing that Yi Er was still sleeping soundly, he went out of the bedroom and went to the living room to answer the phone. He pulled open the big curtain by the floor-to-ceiling window. At this time, the sun hadn't come out yet. Behind the clouds, there was a little golden edge. He cleared his throat and answered the phone. He said with a smile, "Brother, it's so early. Are you missing me with an empty stomach?" On the other end of the phone, Jiang Rui said to someone, "Xiang, don't bring so much food. Mian can't finish it." Then he said to Jiang Zhao, "Yes, I want to bring my family to your place for breakfast." Jiang Zhao said with disdain, "Don't come. I'll pick up sister-in-law and Mian. You're an eyesore." Jiang Rui laughed. "The main purpose of my life is to make you suffer. Because your existence makes me suffer. If you don't let me live, I won't let you live either. So I must go." Jiang Zhao turned to look at the bedroom door. He was afraid that his voice was too loud, so he went to the kitchen and closed the door. "Fine. You're shameless. I'm a reserved and open-minded person. I won't argue with you. And Mian. I'll bring sister-in-law and Mian in my place. And you'll stay in the hotel." Jiang Rui snorted and said, "I won't let Xiang and our son stay in your house. They will see some scenes that are not suitable for children. It will affect their physical and mental health." Jiang Zhao snorted. "Their physical and mental health has long been destroyed under your influence. Why do you have to pin such a big crime on me? I still want to lead them back to the right path." The two bickered for a while before Jiang Rui said seriously, "It's Grandpa Qin's birthday. I'm having a headache thinking about the gift. Help me come up with an idea." Jiang Zhao pretended to be serious and said, "Find a woman that Fian likes and send her over. Also, let them marry and consummate their marriage. Grandpa will bow to you. If you have another child, Grandpa might even kneel to you." Jiang Rui sighed. "Gosh, I really can't afford such a big gift. But even if I can't do this. If I want an old man to kneel, I'll be struck by lightning. I still know how to respect my elders." Translator, Atlas Studios editor. Atlas Studios. A phone call early in the morning, from Jiang Rui to Xiangwan to Mian screaming, "Ah!" The main idea of the whole process was that it was Grandpa Qin's birthday and the Jiang family's relatives wanted to come over in advance. When Yi Er woke up, Jiang Zhao told her about the matter and asked her to pack her things. He was worried that when the family members came over, it didn't matter to the others, but he was afraid that Grandpa Qin would rummage through everything. Yi Er said, "Oh." She got up, stood on the ground, and jumped twice. She saluted Jiang Zhao and smiled mischievously. "Yes, sir. Sir." Yi Er's clothes were packed into a luggage bag, which wasn't much. This was because most of the things that Jiang Zhao bought for her, she would take them back and not put them here. When she went downstairs, she had a lot on her mind. This was the first time after she officially got together with Jiang Zhao that she carried a bunch of things out so early in the morning. She didn't blame him for not sending her off. Because it was really inconvenient, Even if they came back together, they would go upstairs one after the other. This feeling was really weird, really weird. His family members were coming, and she, a passerby, had to pack her things and leave. It was as if the first wife was coming, and the mistress had to get lost. Suddenly, she bumped into her head. Ah. At the same time, there were two screams and a series of bangs. One of the screams was from Yi Er, and the other was from the woman she had knocked to the ground. Yi Er sat on the ground with her hands supporting her on the asphalt ground. It was a little painful. There were a few boxes scattered around the beauty she had knocked down. They were probably placed on top of the luggage bag she was hiding behind. She held the big bouquet of flowers tightly in her hands. She had never seen anyone use white baby's breath and clusters of lilacs to make a bouquet. Was it because it was cheap? There were layers of wrinkled paper wrapped around the bouquet, making Yi Er feel that the paper was much more expensive than the flowers. Yi Er looked at her scraped knee and frowned. She felt that she had been careless and bumped into someone. Without any explanation, she stood up and apologized. Just as she was about to help the beauty up, she heard hurried footsteps behind her. The tall figure had already walked past her and stood in front of her. The autumn morning sun was faint, but it was especially warm and comfortable when it shone on her body. However, Yi Er felt that she should probably wear a sweater today. It was a little cold. The man carefully helped the woman in front of him up. Then he spoke in a voice she was most familiar with. It was low and had a gentleness that she rarely shared. Yan, why are you so careless? Did you hurt yourself? Yi Er felt abandoned. The man who had been intimate with her all night last night was now helping another woman pick up the scattered items on the ground. It was as if he didn't know her at all. The woman who had been knocked down by Yi Er stood up and handed the flowers in her hand to Jiang Zhao. She reached out and carefully buttoned a button on Jiang Zhao's shirt. Her voice was very soft, and there was a hint of annoyance at the end. You ran in such a hurry that your shirt wasn't buttoned properly. Why did you run down with your shoes on? With that said, she looked at Yi Er apologetically and nudged Jiang Zhao. I'm fine. Look at Mississippi. She should be more seriously injured than I am. Yi Er finally noticed that the woman's hair was like satin. It was black and shiny and was tied loosely at the back of her neck. Her plain mid-sleeve dress was a plain beige color. But her features were like a painting. She didn't have any makeup on her face. It was so light, but it was so beautiful that it made people feel inferior. That's right. Yi Er suddenly felt inferior. It was precisely in such an environment that she felt inferior. Being young was useless. Some women were able to accumulate a kind of beauty that no one could surpass after experiencing the passage of time. Moreover, she was already very beautiful. Yi Er didn't even feel like apologizing. Even if that woman was so weak that she stood aloof from worldly affairs, she had a man to take care of her. What was there to apologize for? If apologizing was useful, why would she need a man? All right, she was a low-class woman. Who asked her to be so uneducated? She looked at the woman who had been called Yan. The corners of her mouth stiffened. I'm fine. I'll leave first. Yan. This damn pervert kept calling her little fox. If not, he would call her by her name. Didn't he know that a gentleman's first step was to be friendly to a lady? Her name could also be Yunyan, Xiao Yin or Yi Er Xiao Yi. Was there a problem? Couldn't say it out loud? Bah, he wasn't a gentleman at all. He had always been a pervert. He had chased her away so that other women could move in. They had even brought their luggage over. He actually said that Grandpa was celebrating his birthday, and was afraid that people from Grandpa's side would come over. What a liar. She had only taken 2 steps when Jiang Zhao chased after her and pulled Yi Er back. I'll take you to the hospital. Your knee is bleeding. Yi Er flung Jiang Zhao's hand away. Without saying a word, she walked out of the neighborhood with a cold expression. A thought suddenly appeared in her mind. She couldn't continue this act anymore. Later, she received a message from Jiang Zhao asking her to go to the hospital for a checkup. Otherwise, her wound would get infected. Yi Er didn't reply. Jiang Zhao pulled her luggage and placed a pile of boxes on top of it before entering the lift. Yan, you're really something. You can even bring so many things over. I took a taxi to the entrance of the neighborhood. The security guard asked me to connect to the house before letting the taxi in. I wanted to give you a surprise, so I walked over myself. Ouyang stood by the side with a bouquet of flowers in her arms. When she smiled, her eyes seemed to glow. I've been transferred back to the procuratorate. I don't want to stay at home. It's too restrictive. My dad has agreed to it. I haven't found a house yet. Can I stay here with you? Ding. The lift sounded. As long as you think it's convenient. Of course it's convenient. Give me a set of keys. Jiang Zhao nodded and took the keys to open the door. Why did his nose suddenly become so sensitive? The windows were open, but he could still smell the fox's scent. Just now, when he was standing on the balcony, that woman seemed to be blind and fell. She really deserved it. Dong Xuebing ran downstairs and wanted to help her up to apply some ointment. But Ouyang came over. Dong Xuebing thought his eyes were playing tricks on him until Ouyang smiled at him. Ouyang took out a box from her luggage and opened it. She took out a pair of pink cotton slippers and put it on. Second brother, my dad said that if the situation doesn't change, you will be the acting mayor? Jiang Zhao was still thinking about this when Ouyang kicked him away. He dragged her luggage to the guest room. The situation is changing every day. How can the situation remain the same? Ouyang followed behind. The situation is controlled by someone. Jiang Zhao put the box away and turned around. I'll ask the hourly worker to come over and help you clean up. There is food in the fridge, and there are a lot of business cards outside the fridge. You can also go out to eat. There are 4 cars in the underground garage. I will give you the keys later. You can drive whichever car you like. Walking back to the bedroom, Jiang Zhao opened the wardrobe and picked out a tie for himself. After tying it, he took down his suit from the hanger. Ouyang also walked over, took the suit and stood behind him to open it. Jiang Zhao stretched out his arms and put on his blazer. Ouyang adjusted Jiang Zhao's tie like a virtuous wife. You are too neat sometimes. You don't look like a man. So a sloppy man looks like a man. No. A woman should help you pack up. A woman's role is to help a man pack up? Ouyang coquettishly slapped Jiang Zhao's chest. I can't win against you. At Songshu 566, that you're tuning in to the Li Mei's Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.